All right, so just to review, we went over like the lid, we went over thinking about what kind of money we desire to earn. We went over a little bit of mindset on that, removing some limiting beliefs. We talked about what an economic model looks like. We had some strategic ideas we threw around. We talked about 411 and keeping yourself somewhat accountable to your schedule. And we are now rolling into the lead generation model. Once again, this is where we do the earning, right? So we did the thinking inside the economic model and a lot of the exercises that we did earlier. Now we're rolling into the lead generation model. The lead generation model, you know what I'm doing. We have two things that we can do. We can prospect or we can market. We could do both. We could do marketing enhanced prospecting, prospecting enhanced marketing. And what do I mean by that? I mean that we see that Alpha Movers is here and they're in person. He is prospecting us. When we receive an email after this class, he'll be marketing to us. So he is prospecting, marketing enhanced in that case. Everybody, Karen Kleiman is leaving. Let's say bye, Karen.
Bye, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Karen.
Happy Healthy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. Happy Healthy New Year to everybody.
Stay healthy, please.
Stay healthy. Enjoy Mexico.
And make some money.
Okay, and make some money. Rolling into the new year with 15% of your units under contract in January was another aha that we talked about. And Karen on break just shared with me that this is the first time she really understood the economic model, made sense to her after all these years in the business. So that is a great example of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The teacher has appeared, Chris Carafa. Many of you don't know, Chris Carafa has a passion for teaching and he's pretty good at it. All right, so lead generation. We have prospecting and we have marketing. What happens is we get to see the marketing, right? Everybody, if I said, oh, you know, your favorite real estate agent, what are they doing well? Oh, I love their posts, I love their videos, I follow them on Instagram, right? You are all seeing the tip of the iceberg. You're seeing the marketing aspect of it. The prospecting aspect of our business, as in any sales business, movers, designers, real estate agents, whatever, is face-to-face, belly-to-belly, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes. That is how business has always been done, is through real relationships and communication. I had a broker once in the Jersey City, Hoboken area, and he would always say, the email is the bridge to the relationship. It is not the relationship. The text message is the bridge to the relationship. It's not the relationship. Now, I do think over the last couple of years, we've gotten into a place in this world where texting is appropriate. Does anybody remember the time that you would say, oh my gosh, I wouldn't text Ariane, I don't know her. Mm-hmm. And Ariane on the other side would be like, why is she texting me? She doesn't know me. Now it's turned into, why would I call her? She doesn't know me, I'll just text her. And then Ariane says, why is she calling me? Just text me, please. It literally is not we have to be aware of that though. It's not of our doing. I mean, it is of our doing because we're human society, but it's the world that responds that way. Now you take it to different generations. And how an older generation, like my mom, who was very against, like, that is very insensitive. Why would they text me or email me? They should be calling my home line to let me know that they're running late for it, right? That woman has totally changed. Why are they bothering me? They should just text. So that woman has changed. Now you have the 20-year-olds that are coming into our business and seeing it as an amazing, amazing opportunity to build wealth at a young age. And so how do they communicate? On TikTok. Right? I have not mastered TikTok yet. And it's not part of my market. However, here's one thing I do know. Okay. Is I'm the young adult leader at my church, and I just looked at the youth group and I said, oh my goodness, they're going to be in young adults. And I'm going to have to communicate with them, and I'm going to have to figure out how do I reach them. And if I can't reach them through they're not going to look at an email. If I'm not doing a fun TikTok telling them the things to get to young adults tonight, I don't know that I'm going to reach them. So your audience matters, how you communicate with them. Your willingness to be flexible and adapt to, you know, expecting that your message is received. Because I've said this over in a couple different ways, is I see a lot of agents just throwing stuff to throw stuff out there to feel like I did my work for the day, but then not really holding it accountable. But yeah, did it land on the right eyes? Did I get a phone call from it? Did I actually talk to people? And did Olivia go on a listing appointment this week? Right? If we had a list of the very few things that you said to yourself, this is my job description for the week. And at the end of the week, I say hire or fire. Am I keeping myself next week? If these 3 things didn't get done, how many weeks do you give yourself to get off the hook before you say, girl, you're fired? I mean, because you can get a job that pays you a salary, because you all have the ability to go do that. You're not doing that for a reason. You like the money, you like the flexibility and freedom, you like the field. Well, let's take advantage of the opportunity you have. So lead gen is prospecting or marketing. Immediate results with prospecting, proactive, time intensive, because it's going to be you working, you showing up, you driving, you popping by, versus long-term results, passive and money intensive. So if you have the budget for it, you know, Roger was sharing the budget that they have. We're good, okay. If you have the budget for it, then you could commit to it. If you don't have the budget for it, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be on the prospecting end, and that will be just fine. There are plenty of free things that you can do to then, you know, couple that with some calling, pop by, and prospecting, and you'll be fine. Once you then start to get the money coming in from your business, you make a decision to say, I'm going to put $12,000 towards my marketing this year. I'm going to put $24,000 towards my marketing this year. How would I wisely use that? And if I put $12,000 towards marketing, what am I expecting to get back from it? Gary Keller will say 10-time return, right? 4-time or you're totally out. You're not doing it for just like, well, it paid itself back. Well, I got a deal from it. Great. Did the deal? Well, I mean, I made like $1,000 on it. Great. For all that energy and effort, all the time to set up the thing, and you made $1,000. If you work 10 hours, you made $100 an hour. So big whoop. That product didn't bring you really a real result. So we have to measure. And the best use is your time on prospecting. But in general, there are only 4 ways that agents do business. 1, 2, 3, 4. 82% of business comes from 4 sources or less. Now, these are different sources for different people, but what they're saying is a successful agent is not all over the place. They're not saying I'm equally getting business from 10 sources of business that I'm using. They're measuring and saying, oh yeah, you know what, this one, that was like that one referral I got coming in from an agent. Oh yeah, this one, that deal, that was like a fluke for sale by owner. Hi, Anthony. That one, that was, you know, my aunt expired, so it isn't expired, but it was like family and friends. These are the one-offs that you're not gonna go put a business plan around. This one, what was it? Those of you who are in business this year, 21, what is your one source, your number 1 source of where your business came from? Social media, okay? That's her business. Where's referrals from past clients? Right? Referrals, past clients, sphere of influence. That's her business. One more source. Give me one more.
Family.
What? Family, database, sphere of influence, okay? Referrals, sphere of influence, social media. That's 3. That would be enough. Right? You don't then go, oh, but I had somebody go, okay, so I just put on there some expireds too, right? Why? Are you going to do expireds? Well, that's what I should be doing, right? You should be doing, or what are your strengths? Did you identify your 3 levers? If you identified them, stay in them. What Ariane's is not going to be Anna's, and it's not going to be Chris's. So you don't have to compare yourself. So stop comparing yourself to others. The bold law, your insides, don't compare them with other people's outsides. Right? You got these feelings going on, and outside something else is happening. So just stop and stay in your lane. I've shared this with some of you. I've been in that race, and I look over, oh, what that person's doing? Oh, what is that doing? It's slowing me down, getting me sidetracked. Now I got a shiny object, and I want to go buy the red hat again, right? And then it pulls me off my focus, which means I'm going to get where I'm going because that's the kind of person I am. But I could have done it better, faster, smarter, easier. Maybe brought more people with me if I just stayed focused instead of worrying about all these other people. It's hard to do that in this business. It's not easy to not to look at 63,000 licenses in New Jersey. It has doubled since I've been in the business. 63,000 licenses is what you're competing against, okay? And so that license that works in Mawa can sell it in Cape May. It doesn't matter. It's the same license, so it's your competition. And back when I was an agent, there was about 28,000 agents, and that seems like a lot. So, you know, hats off to you. However, understand this too, and I mean this, not everybody's gonna make it. And a tough market's gonna clean it out a little bit. So if you're gonna really stay in it and you're gonna make it, I assume that you're intending on staying in the business. You have to have a business plan, always. You need to know what your schedule is, always. You need to know, am I behind my goal? Am I ahead of my goal? How many appointments did I go on? You know, nothing to get so crazy about, but just weekly, you should just be tracking your stuff. So when you go and measure, you can say, I know social media got me my stuff. I would question that. Well, what about the social media? Was it the campaigns? Was it your videos? Was it your quick little questions? Or did you have a whole campaign going on, like a whole marketing campaign that you said, no, it was that? Because for some of us, I know for myself, video for me gets a better response. Most people it does. But if I can go on quick and just say, hey guys, here's what we're doing. I need your help with this. I'm going to get a response quickly. If I type it out, not as much. You want to get people interacting with you on a social level, a social page level, ask quick little questions where people can give quick little short answers. I've shared this with you before. It's like, you know, how old were you when you first bought your first house? How old were you when you bought your first house? What year was it when you bought your first house? Right, a real estate question that will get people going, oh, I was 34, oh, I was 26, oh, I had my first house when I was 16, you know, like somebody's gonna be out there bragging on that, right? So that gives you, and what do you do with those short little answers? You go over to the messaging box and you say, that's amazing, tell me about that, where did you buy it at? How did you do that? Who inspired you? And now we got some real estate conversation going on. So was it that, or was it your posts, or was it your commands and ad campaigns, right? So we have to identify even inside of the social media category, what about it? And the social media category is awesome because it could so be leveraged, even though you think that you have to do all of your posting, you could probably leverage somebody in that 20s that could probably do it way better and more consistent, more easily. And then you pick up another source. All right, so identifying your sources is important. Understanding lead capture to your database, leads to contacts, contacts to contracts, prepare contacts for conversion, and then you keep doing it and you keep doing it. It's the referral loop, but the relationship is in the middle. The relationship is where all that good stuff happens. So if you say, yeah, I called my database. Okay, you're gonna call your database 4 times a year. So get used to that. Don't tell me I called everybody. I got nobody to call. Okay, well then where's your farm? Okay, where's your your target list? Because then by the time you're done with that, you're gonna be back next to you're gonna go back to your database. So there shouldn't be oh, but I did that already. Yeah, you're gonna do it always. And right now, if you were to call your database and you had 4 calls that you planned for the year, right now it's a happy holiday. And it's a how are you? Nothing real estate, how are you? Right? It's a care call. This is like maybe Q4. Then you're coming into Q1. This is a housing market. Q1, the question is, hey, I've committed to helping 36 families move this year. Who do you know? Can I count on you for 1 referral? Who do you know that's looking to sell their home this year? Right? So I've committed to what? How many number of people, homes to help? Can I count on you? Can I count on you to help for 1 referral? 1 referral for the year, just 1. So if you got 100 people and you're asking 100 people and they're all going, oh yeah, sure, oh yeah, sure, yeah, sure. What if 10% of them worked out and you got 10 leads from that phone call? I mean, the reality is you'd hope that at least 50% of them would give you really a lead throughout the year. But can I count on you for 1 referral? And then your specific question, who do you know that needs to sell, not buy, sell their home in 2022? That's it. I can't really think of anybody. All right, what do you think of somebody? You know how to send it to me, right? Okay, great. That's it. Have a great day, right? Q3, Q4. Checking in 6 months later. You didn't even call me to say hi in 6 months, right? So just checking in. How are you? Now we're in the spring market, right? So we're in the spring market. What can we say? Oh, I've been so busy. Oh, the market is crazy. That's where you could put a little bit of market. I've been so busy. How's work? How's work? Because you know at this quarter, we're not talking about this is too. You're busy. I've been so busy. How's work? Ford. Huh? Ford. Yeah, Ford. Family Occupation Recreation Dreams. So Ford, F-O-R-D, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Family, how's your family? How are you? How are you doing? Occupation, how's your work? Oh, I'm so busy. I'm crazy. How are you? This one here is relationship. Is I've committed to helping 24 people, help them move, get a new home. Can I count on you for just one referral this year? Hey, who do you know? Who do you know is looking to sell their home in 2022? Right? Then you're calling them again, quarter 2. I've been so busy, crazy. I'm so sorry that I haven't gotten in touch with you lately. It's been busy, really busy. You know, open houses almost like every weekend, just insane. Sellers are still getting buku crazy dollars. How's work? Oh my gosh, you're doing like you really are busy. Oh, could you help me with blah, blah, blah? Okay, great. Now this is Q3. We're going into what is this? This is Thanksgiving. This is I'm grateful for you. This is just grateful gratitude. I am so grateful for you in my life. Like it's just to have friends, family like you. Just thank you. What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? If you were to stick with this and say, these are my 4 calls I make to my database, they're quarterly, and I do take the whole month pretty much to do it. So that leaves me with 8 other months that I got to call other people, follow up, work on deals, open house leads, my social media thing. But if you worked on that and those were your 4 conversations, nothing really heavy about real estate, just to ensure that you are communicating and you have a real relationship with the people inside of your database, then you are going to do business from your database. It's those people that don't even have, oh yeah, but I don't want to bother them, right? Who at one point in our career said, I don't want to bother them. They don't want to hear from me again. Like they don't want it. They would. I already went through that. Guys, you have to be out. Who in 3 months, mom runs into 3 people that I then need to help get them home, which I just thought about somebody I have to call. But seriously, mom runs into people. In 3 months, my sister is at many parties in 3 months where this so-and-so is pregnant, this one's getting divorced, okay, fine, we're gonna make them move. Seriously.
What is that first word on Q2?
Q2.
Checking
in.
Oh, yeah, this is the check.
I was like, oh my God.
It's my shorthand.
MBO shorthand.
All of a sudden the conversation got real.
I know. Sorry, guys.
So that's just an example of something you could be saying. In your quarterly care call, in your, I don't know what to say, I called them already. Okay, now this here is 19 to connect, 36 to convert. Let me just see if they have the circle. They don't have the circle. Okay. So if you look in the packet, and in the packet everything is reiterated, and I encourage you to go. But if you look in the packet, there is the lead generation model on page 21. No.
21, yeah.
Yes, but 20. Go to page 11 instead. 11 is going to give you some ideas. Page 21 is where you're going to fill out your lead generation plan. So in the MREA book, in here, page 137, you'll see a bullseye. Okay, you'll see a bullseye. This is what the typical lead generation model looks like if you see this. And here's what it is. You have your target These are your not Mets. This is the circle I was talking about before. This right here are your core advocates. This is your raving fans. These are your one-on-ones. Treat them different, okay? Met group, haven't met. Met, haven't met. And this is not met. This is a target. This is a general. Okay, page 137. Basically, this bullseye is ultimately you're looking to get people into here. You're looking to get people that are core advocates of yours, that are raving fans, that you work solely through the referrals of. Imagine you had 25 people that just referred you like crazy. You would not have to go looking at the outside circle trying to meet new people. Those 25 people would literally go, hey, you want to come to a party tonight? And I'm going to invite you, I want to introduce you to all these people. Great, I'm going to hang out with that one. You go to the church, and you got all these people. So you got the pastor, you got your mom, all of her friends are your friends now, right? So you got those people in your life. You don't need to worry about going to meet all these new kinds of people, get involved in all these groups and call for sale by owners and expireds and all that stuff. You don't, if you have a really, really great inner circle. And you can create that, and you can also create that with vendors as well. So vendors, business to business, if there's an appropriate referral you could create, you want to be mindful of that. So in your database, you should also have a list of all of your vendors. Because even though we all refer them, not all of you promote them. So those who get promoted, there may be some business there. Anyway, so not Mets are people that you don't know, general public. I put a, anybody ever be on a shopping cart? I was on a shopping cart. Anybody in a park, on a bench, a bus stop. Those, I know Mike is in CVS on like a poster or something, right?
Where am I?
There, and you're in Montclair? In CVS, okay, so she's in CVS. That is a not met general marketing strategy. That means that everybody's walking into CVS in Montclair and they see Angela. It's like, I kind of think I know that girl. Do I know that girl? I don't know. But if they visit CVS enough, she's going to get a little mind share that the minute a marketing piece comes across their mailbox, like, where do I know this girl from? Oh, because it's CVS. They're not going to put it together with CVS. They're just going to feel like they know her. That's not met general marketing. Putting an ad in the paper that you don't, for me, it was Asbury Park Press down there, an ad in the paper, a publication that is wide and nobody, that is a not met general. The target not met is, I'm going to put an ad in the church publication. I'm going to put an ad in the News Tribune that comes to the neighborhood every Wednesday. That's a targeted group, but it's still not met. They don't know you. It's a very general, who knows if they're going to read it. They're just going to recognize you. You're going to gain mind share. You get into here is your Mets. Mets are people that you've met at an open house, that you met at a party, you've talked to, they're in your cell phone, you don't know who they are, but you somehow met them somewhere. You've talked to them through email or text, you're friends with them on Facebook. Those are Mets. Back in the day, we would say, no, you had to actually meet them. But because of the social world that we're in today, if you've had a two-way conversation, they're considered a Met. Now, if I've had a personal two-way conversation, they're going to be closer to the inner circle than the outer, but they're still going to be considered a Met. Then your ideal Mets are your friends, your family, your college friends, your high school friends, your wedding list, your baby shower list, your Christmas card list, your Thanksgiving dinner party invitations. That is your real true Mets. Now, the book says this: 50-1 or 12-2. 50-1 is not Mets. 12-2 is your Mets. Now, what it says is if you were to market to that group of people in a consistent manner, 33 touches in a year. That's where we get the 33 touch from. 33 touches in a year. Now they're changing it to 36 touches, 39 touches, whatever. However many touches in a year. If you were to consistently market to them and they don't know them, it's saying you should get a 50-1 return. You should get one piece of business for every 50 houses that you're marketing to. If you stayed consistent, now hear me, it's an 18-month plan, is what the book says. You market to them consistently for 18 months, and you should see that kind of results show up. So Nadej, if you said, I want to sell 10 homes, and I said, are you gonna do it for people you don't know or you know? And you say, well, don't know, because I don't have anybody here. Okay, well, she's gonna take this, she wants to sell 10, she's gonna need to be marketing to 500 people consistently for 18 months, and you should then see 10 transactions come from that marketing, okay? Now, when that is a marketing-based plan. When the market shifted a bit, we went to the prospecting-based marketing enhanced. So some of the numbers I think are a little bit off, but I don't think people are marketing the way that they used to. I mean, I know what my mailbox looks like. And I do pay attention to the people that come across my mailbox. I just do. And there's not many of them. I do believe that if somebody was consistent enough, that there was something every single month and the brand was consistent, I would go, that's the agent that owns this market. But I have yet to see that in my neighborhood. And I would question yourselves, do you see it in your neighborhood? If not, there's an opportunity to go back into a marketing-based market. The 12 to 2 is really a 6 to 1, okay? Right? So the 12 to 2 is for every 12 people in the database, you should get 2 pieces of business. One is, hey, Ariane, my friend needs to buy. I'm gonna send that referral over to you. The other one would be, Ariane, I need to buy, okay? So that's the expectation. So now Nadej tells me, I wanna sell 10 houses. She needs 60 people with that kind of plan. So Nadej, do you think you want the budget for 60 people or 500 people consistently? Well, you want 60 of your closest friends, that you can get the same results. You get the same results. So do you wanna send 60 pieces out or you wanna send 500 out every single?
Oh, no.
So you get to choose, but the reality is it's never gonna be one or the other. It might be both, right? So. Yes, I'll tell you why. Because, so that is with, are we marketing or are we calling? Right? Or are we gonna take that same list and are we gonna market it, plus call it, plus social media, plus walk the neighborhood, plus call every first sale by owner in that neighborhood and every expired in that neighborhood? Are we gonna own that neighborhood in that area or that list of people? Because if you do that with the 500, you're gonna see more than 10 come. So that's how you're really gonna really work it. So here's a lead generation plan, and a few of you have seen this before, but you need to plan for the whole year in your marketing plan. And for January, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. And you have quarterly pieces that would go out. Let's just say December might have a calendar, right? Guys, calendars are not dead. Calendars are never going away. They were here forever. It might just not be the really cool thing to send. There's other things that you can send. But at the end of the year, if you sent a calendar or an end of year something that had a magnet on it that stuck around a little bit, they're stainless steel. It doesn't stick. I get it. So is there like a letter opener maybe as an end of year? But the stars I put on this are shelf pieces. They're going to hang around for longer than just a mailer. So you're going to find something for that month. You're going to find something for this month. You're going to find something for this month and then for this month. I always sent out notepads in September because it's back to school, it's back to business, and notepads are just, people love notepads. Notepads, pens, highlighters, people love it, okay? So notepads in September, I would get a bulk order and I would get the pad that was like this, that was this size, and the picture of your face is embedded in the paper. So every single paper has your face on it and your name and all that. The business card aspect is built into the paper. And then it just has, and I made the mistake, simple lines. Don't go with the freaking watermark in the back. It's like nobody can read stuff and nobody wants to use pad. So you go with the notepad. And I used to, on the back, you could put a little magnet. You get the business card size magnets. You cut them in 4. You don't need the whole magnet. And you can actually get yourself a magnet notepad. The other thing they sell is they sell an envelope that actually puts a little window like that so you can even see your face in the mail. It's marketing. So even if they don't open it, it's sitting on the table for weeks, like some of my mail, you'd be seeing the cute little face, right? And you probably open it. So this event happened for Mary Beth and team in September and in March, okay? Because by March, they were at a notepad. If it's not notepad, like I said, is it a pen? Is it something that, speaks to you? It's September, back to school. Maybe there's some things you want to advertise, put it on a marketing piece. There's a really awesome piece called, I think it's 100 ways to love your child or something, 100 ways to some, there's all sorts of fun magnets that are just not about real estate that you just put your little logo on the bottom. It's something that's a staple in somebody's house. It stays there forever, right? Yeah. Mailing them. And I would say though, if you have a tight budget and you can't, these more heavy things, you might have to walk. You might have to, employ some people to say, family, we're going out and we're in the street. But you mail them. Here's what the budget looks like, guys, okay? This June, July, for me, I used to do bookmarks. And what I would do is I would put a reading list for like all the family members, like, adults, kids, women, whatever, teenagers. But I have a few books and I make a bookmark on Vistaprint. And I would laminate them. My mom was a teacher, so she had a laminating machine. So we would laminate through the teacher's machine and then we would cut them, hole punch and put a tassel. And you had great bit. Now you can buy there's bookmark sleeves that they make now. So you press them anyway. This I like because who throws out a bookmark? You don't, you just keep, I have bookmarks all over the place in different books. So these pieces, they will cost you about all in about $2. So the notepad was like 89 cents. By the time you put the mailer on it because of the weight of it with the magnet, which is called $2. Now we have 8 other pieces that have to go in the mail. What are we going to send? This is the easiest, right? It's a year in review. Year in review. What happened in 2021? Give them a snapshot. Put it on a postcard. Keep that postcard template. You can create them in Command. You can order them through some of our marketing partners like KW Marketing Center. And you can also just design on your own. I mean, year in review, make it a postcard, give them a snapshot, but always have a call to action. Contact me to find out what your home's worth.
What is this year in review look like?
A year in review might be, it will be a postcard. It would be a postcard and it might have some, percentage increase for some main numbers, Bergen County, or is it a specific town? Maybe you're doing Fairlawn, Montclair versus Woodcliff Lake, and you show an increase of price points or a decrease of day on market. Maybe you show how many homes sold in these areas. Like, didn't think we sold homes last year? There were X amount of homes sold in Montclair, New Jersey, with an increase of year-over-year price of 27%, with an average day on market at 11 days, declining from 30. Those kind of things are just going to give you like a really nice, wow, that's a story. I should find out. And so then the call to action on the other side needs to be like, want to know how your house held up over COVID or something like that? Contact me. Find out what your home is worth in today's market. April is a Q1 review. It's the same exact postcard. Don't change it up. Leave it the same template and just change it out to just do a Q1 snapshot, Q2 snapshot, Q3 snapshot. And if you're like, oh yeah, but I did that already. I want to know. Don't you want to know quarterly? If I'm not in real estate and I don't know anybody in real estate, wouldn't that be of value to me that quarterly I get a little snapshot in my mailbox that you send to me? But then how about this? To go to the next level, you also stalked me and went into Cole Realty because we have that account, or you went on True People search and you found their cell number, you found their email through Cole Realty, or you have a Vulcan 7 account and you check it out and you find them. And now you can go ahead and put them in your commands and you can set them up on a neighborhood nurture. So not only would they be getting the in the mail box, they'd be getting in the email box monthly that they're getting a neighborhood nurture. Now, some of you don't know what I'm talking about, but what happens is if you put somebody into your contact database management system, which is commands, you can put their physical address. And when you put their physical address, command is going to recognize that neighborhood that they live in. Therefore, you could set them to a smart plan that will send them every month or every other week a snapshot of what that neighborhood is doing from you automatically. If you do not have your database set up on that, that is something that you all should have your database set up on. Now, I don't want to hear you tell me, yeah, but it's not accurate, or it doesn't give the whole snapshot. It only gives this section. Yes, that's a neighborhood. It's not, here's the town snapshot. It's the neighborhood that you live in that would make sense to you knowing. Now, have an anal person in your database that goes, Olivia, I live 3 blocks down, and this is pulling in all these houses, and that is not my neighborhood. Is that not a good opportunity though? Because you got to, I called you to tell you this, or I'm texting you or emailing you. Now, what do? You get the opportunity to call me and be like, you know what, this darn system, talk to me about this. What area, why don't I come over and take a look at your house? I need to see what you're talking about. Now you have an opportunity to just connect. So whether it's right or it's wrong, most of it is right. It's coming from MLSs, but the way it packages it sometimes because of the neighborhoods, because we're very densely populated in New Jersey. If you were to go out to certain areas like Texas, that neighborhood is so big, like it's going to give a big snapshot. Here, you can go 2 blocks over and you're in another neighborhood, you're in another county. So year in review, quarterly snapshot. And now we have one more postcard to make. I don't know. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you what mine was. It was like as simple as that. It was like a got milk postcard. It just, what's your home worth? Question mark. On the back, it said contact an agent like me, it's getting home souls, find out what your home's worth in today's market, something like that. Now, we can get even fancier. This is where Chris Graffa comes in. We could put QR codes on these postcards that will lead them right into our commands. And they would fill out a landing page to put all their information so that you could get them a complimentary CMA. That's being purposeful. You can order this card in bulk. So you can create this, what's your home worth? What's the value of your home in today's market? First of all, there's about 3 of them inside commands. If you look in there for listing, they're already there. And they are big and bold like this. So if you have this card with your face, your logo, whatever, and it is the same card and it goes out 4 times a year, they're gonna know you. They're gonna be like, that's that girl that sends that card. Maybe I should find out what my home is worth because that's what her message is all the time. She could tell me what my home is worth. Let me do the QR code. And if you make it where they could do a QR code, they could put their information and you could literally just shoot back an email. And then you call back and you say, hey, I just shot you over an email with your complimentary market analysis. I'd love to be able to pop by. I'm in the neighborhood next week, Tuesday at 3. How's that sound? Just want to go over it with you. I go, we're not selling. No, it's just a complimentary service that I offer to my database. This here, all these other pieces will cost you, let's call it 80 cents. Okay, let's just call these 80 cents. So we got 80 cents times 8, so that's $6.40. And we have $2 times 4, which is $8, which means for $14.40, let's call it $15 a person. 15,000. Well, $15. Well, you know what? This is kind of funny though. $15 a person to get 15,000, right? Because if you were to spend $15 on a person in your database and they sold their $600,000 house, you get a $15,000 commission check, right? So you're looking at it like, can I spend $15 on Ariane this year in the hopes that she's got a referral for me? Am I committed to making sure that I'm going to make sure she knows that that's what I'm looking for in a nice way? Because why? Where's my calls? I'm gonna call her 4 times a year because she's in my database. I could set that up in command too. You could have a 3-month remind me to call them task. And you could literally be working, your phone can be your boss now. If you don't have the app downloaded, you need to download the red app with the white letters, not the white app with the red letters. You need to get rid of Kelly. Kelly ain't gonna work anymore. We don't need Kelly, we're over her. We are gonna, no, not Kelly Weber, we love Kelly Weber. But in here, it says tasks due, you could just open it up and it will tell you that you gotta call these people. So then your boss is your phone. This is your assistant. This was what KW Command was built for. It's actually there. It took us a little while, but it's there. Have some grace. Pandemic, we're fine. However, you could be calling them quarterly. They're getting this in the mailbox. It's costing you $15 a person and a phone call 4 times a year. If you told me, Mary Beth, I don't have a lot of money, I really don't. Well, then how many can you commit to for $15 a year? Could you say I have $100 to spend a month? Because this at 100 people is $1,500. Divide that by 12 is about $120 a month. Right, 12 times 12 is 144, right? So that is going to be a great use of $1,500
Nice ROI.
in $120 a month payments, right? About, you figure. And all of you have $120. And if you don't, okay, we could do some of this electronically. So we could cut down some of this cost. Maybe we only do a quarterly mail and the rest of them are done through email. That don't cost anything. And so I could probably take that $1,500 down to maybe $350 if you said I got a budget for marketing. Now, Roger is not going to cut his budget like that. And let's see what this can do, because let's talk about what else has to happen. When I started in the business, I had 80 houses on my street because I didn't know anybody. I was young, I was 26. My parents were in the neighborhood forever. I went to high school, I played softball, my sister played softball. My father drove the bus for the school system, and my mother was a teacher for the school system. So did it make sense to market to my neighborhood? For sure. And everybody loved my mother and my father. I mean, insane. My first broker, she worked the same neighborhood because she lives around the corner. And I said to her, can I market to this neighborhood? And she goes, girl, yeah. Some people don't even like me anymore. And some people don't like you either. So we can dominate the whole entire neighborhood. And we did. And we did. And I'm grateful for her because in that, I could have had the broker that said, no, this is my neighborhood. And I wouldn't have had the experience that I had on Knox Lane, which is 80 houses. And I sold 11 of them in the first 4 years of business. Because I literally didn't have the budget in the beginning. And so I would walk the postcards, I would walk the pumpkins, I would walk the candy bars, I would walk the apples. We had all these little things that we would do, but 80 houses was enough for me to say, I know if I work this plan, I'm gonna get a couple sales here. So I had my not mets, which was really like a targeted not met group. It was my street. So that was my farm. It was my one lever. And my other lever was that sphere of influence database. At a bank. This is where I stayed and I picked up one others. Open houses. You've gotten to know me a little bit. I don't mind talking to people and I do much better in person than if I'm over the phone. Okay. So for me, prospecting like that, when I would call for sale by owners or expired, it was because it was in my farm and I was assigned to their neighborhood. Who assigned me? You did. I did. Gary Keller assigned me. My broker assigned me. I've been assigned to your neighborhood, and I noticed that your home came off the market and didn't sell the first time around. You know, we specialize in selling those homes, and I would love to see the property. Well, why didn't you see it the first time? Well, it really wasn't marketed to me properly. I mean, I work this neighborhood, and there's a few things. When we get together, I can tell you about that. And it might be that it was overpriced, or the pictures were horrible, or they were never letting anybody in, so I could never show it. And so I wouldn't disclose that over the phone, but I wasn't a big expired or for sale by owner person, only if they were in my farm. And let them not be in here. Because my father would go after the ones that were in here. You listen to my daughter? I would get those expireds, but usually because my dad would strong arm them. And the open houses was the opportunities from all the listing agents in the office, because in the first year I only had, remember, 5 listings sold. And nobody gave me the big $1 million house. I got the $99 adult community from the lady who has the 550 single family. She gave me her mom's, not hers. But that's what happened in the first year. So I got used to, okay, I'm gonna have to go out there and work for this. So when I found the listing agent who was willing to let me sit at that open house, I said, can I sit there until it sells though? Can I have that open house until the thing sells? Back in the day, we're talking about 150 day on market. So it's a couple months where you're gonna host that open house. And the reason why I was trained to ask for that was because if I was gonna go sit and learn One Oxford, which is my first open house that created millions of dollars of income for me, I mean, of closed sales for me, I was gonna work the neighborhood. I was gonna call the neighbors. Every time I'm out there with my sign, I'm like, hey, how are you? Yeah, I'm gonna be over there again. Oh, you can tell your niece to come on in, like, and then before you know it, I'm showing the neighbors how I work. I'm consistent. I'm always there. Oh, that girl, she's been working. They think I'm Adele because Adele's sign is out there and I'm the one that's showing up every weekend. And from that opportunity, I have a couple of families, the Gilboys or somebody that are near and dear to my heart, sold them like three properties, and a couple others because of that open house. But guess what? When people would walk into that house on the third weekend I was there, I knew this house. There was no, you talk to me, I was the listing agent. That's what it sounded like. So for me, open houses was the other lever. Farm, sphere of influence, open house. The farm. What other ideas can you do with the farm? So you're identifying the farm. You don't want to go too wide. You don't want to go too big. I took 80 houses, then it was 350, then it was 1,000. This is all still the same neighborhood. Then I said, okay, you know what? I'm in Manalapan. Let me pick the neighborhoods that make sense to this neighborhood. So if you were going to buy in my neighborhood, which was a modest like 450 neighborhood, well, you were going to be buying from the townhouses to the neighborhood. If you were going to sell this because you were going to move to the next house, what product was this person going to go buy? And that's where I stayed. I went to the adult community because some of them also went out. They were Levitt homes. People have been there since 72. They were going to die there or go to adult community. So my 4 markets off of the farm over the course of the years that I worked in the sales end was all attaching to my original farm. The buy up, and the buy out. So that if I had a product, I could go ahead and market it to all of them because it was going to make sense to all of them. Because some kid was going to move into the townhouse, some single guy was going to buy the first house, a young couple was going to buy the townhouse, then buy. So it made sense. So I'm encouraging you. How many of you have a solid farm? You know all the houses. It's in an Excel sheet, like you know your farm. Okay, you really need to know it. We didn't have fancy stuff then. So what I used to do was go to the tax records and just print out the 5160 Avery labels of a set street. And I would go street by street. So I looked at the map. We didn't have EDDM either. So I'd look at the map and I would say, okay, the Knox Lane, but then Scott Lane comes off of this. Okay, go into the tax record, pull up Scott Lane, Manalapan, all of the houses would come up, click all export labels, 5160s, and I would make copies of the labels and they would be in folders in my desk. So every time we did a mailer, my assistant would go and get the folders. We made copies of the labels and everybody would get a label. And that's how those would all go out. Okay. Then quantum mail, thank God, came into our world and I started to send it electronically, use their services where I didn't have to touch the postcard anymore. I just uploaded my images and they sent it out to my list. Now I had the list because also I didn't export just the labels. I exported into an Excel and I could send that over to them and they were able to send it out. So is there some thought that you have to put into getting your marketing plan set up? Yes. But the beauty of it is once I set it, I forget it. And it was on the 10th of the month that my pieces went out. It wasn't right in the beginning, it was the 10th. I don't know why, something with the mail and the bills and the this and that. So the 10th was my thing. My assistant knew those things are in the mail by the 10th. Then it was my job to then call through the neighborhood, walk through the neighborhood. And in the farm, like I said, if there was a first sale by owner, hi, this is Mary Beth. I noticed that you're trying to sell your home on your own. I've been assigned to your neighborhood. This is the area of focus that I've been assigned to. So I'd love to know, what's making you sell without a realtor? And it's like, oh, you're not looking for the, it's like, I'm not really looking for the listing. You're a piece of inventory in my farm. So guess what? People are probably going to call me to ask me what you're doing. I'd like to have the right answer instead of, making something up. And that would just get me into conversation. So yes, did I take first by owners in my farm? Yes. Expireds? Yes, as long as my father showed up to let them know. And the Purdy's, I will tell you, the Purdy's, they listed without me. They expired. The day they expired, I called. They said, "Oh, we have to list with you. Your father said." I sold them in one weekend, and I got them into an amazing house for $525,000 in Millstone, which gave them everything that they wanted. And the sweet spot was there was a $10,000 bonus. for me. So I was like very grateful for that one, but it wasn't common. It was just the fact that it was in my farm that is even why I was interested. So these few, what do? You have them, the mailers, okay? Bye, Alpha.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for lunch.
Thanks for the church.
Thank you so much. Okay, so you have the mailers. How many touches was that? That's 12 touches. Could you set them up on that neighborhood nurture, like I said? The neighborhood nurture can go out either twice a month or it can go out once a month. Let's just say you did it once a month. Neighborhood nurture. What else? You're up to 24. The model is 33 touch, 36 touch, 39 touch, okay? Now we start adding in, this is where you get to be creative. People have birthdays, people have anniversaries. Everybody who bought in 21, I would advise you that in the new year, you're sending them a copy of their closing documents, a copy of something to let them know, I have the information for you if your accountant needs the information. But you can absolutely touch base with all 20. So you have 24 touches right there. You have Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, any kind of American holiday, Thanksgiving. I just say American because you just want to be very cautious of culture and religion. So we're in America. Let's go to American cultures. If you are targeting to a church, a synagogue, a temple, then you can have a specific message that goes out. That's why your database staying organized is important. Because if you wanted to send a specific message to a specific tag, you can. You can send a text message, you can send an email, you can set them up on a campaign, you can do so many things with your commands. So first you need to do the thinking in the economic model, the thinking in the who is my audience, what am I going to, how am I going to make this machine happen? If I have to go on 51 listing appointments for the year, where are those 51 appointments going to come from? Well, am I working enough people? Is my world big enough? Maybe I have to, so this, you have to do the thinking of it. It's not gonna just, this is not the model for everybody. But these two are, you got over 12 emails, you have them on 12 in the mailbox, you have them on 4 calls, I got 4 calls. Now you're up to 28. Fill it in as you want, make it personal. Just 2 more ideas on this is pie in November, candy apples. Well, we used to do chocolate apples. You get an apple on a stick, chocolate, dip it, put them on the wax paper. Honestly, you can get an apple for under $1 with the bag, with the tie, put a sticker on it, and you can make yourself your own giveaways at open houses, at the seasonal type of stuff. You know what I mean? And what I would do is I would door knock the open houses around and give them like little stuff around those holidays. Anything I was doing for my sphere and I had extra. Pumpkins. Forget-me-not seeds. Okay, in the spring, it's a flower called forget-me-not. And forget-me-not seeds are a little staple of my business card, just walking around the neighborhood with the market snapshot. Just wanted to, hey, hopefully you don't forget us in the spring. If you're ready to list, if you want to have any questions. Also, here's a list of our service providers. If you need, we were just talking about staging, but like contracting, painting, roofer, landscaper. Who are the people that you could say, here's my preferred vendor list. Check this out. They're local people. Okay. You also can do videos at local places. That's another touch out to reinforce this. If you said and this is something we did every Tuesday was our business shout out. Back in the day, we only had Facebook. Before that, it was really, I don't even know, before we didn't do it. But when we did have Facebook, it was every single Tuesday, we were gonna shout out a local business. Like, hey, the great coffee at this new place that just opened up. You only need 52 of them for the year. So you can find 52 vendors if you can give a really great shout out. Great dry cleaners over here. Awesome, awesome coffee, best pizza in town. New restaurant just opened up. Promote local businesses. So you do all of that, boom, you have a system, you have a lead generation machine. And on page 11 in the handout, it gives you even more ideas of prospecting versus marketing and both. So there's tons and tons of ideas. You get to decide. Danielle Harriet's hair is awesome today. I love it. I see you, girl. Okay, so this is your warning database. In the back here is a way for you to decide what your numbers are gonna be, right? So contacts needed to achieve my goal in economic model. Here's the deal. I just asked before, the 10 or the 500. Angela, how many transactions do you say you want to do? 48, right? 48. So her intention is 48 transactions for 22. Here's the way she does it. And we're doing it here now with this, the 12 to 2 is the 6 to 1, right? 50 to 1 or 6 to 1. In the new book, not to confuse everybody, so we could just go with this. The new book, they've changed the 6 to 1. The 6 to 1 is not 6 to 1 anymore in the new book that's not written yet. It's 10 to 1. Okay? Because they realize that we've gotten very busy with the social media and all the influence and like to really, right? So 10 to 1. If she wants to do it with the Mets, Angela has to have 480 people that she is committed to calling on the quarterly, doing the mail, all that. If she's gonna do it with people that she doesn't know, she has to, and do it all with people she doesn't know, she's gotta do it with 2,400 people. So does she wanna deal with 2,400 people or 480 people? So now I find that this is the better way. 240 people and 1,200 people. If you do a mix of both, that means Angela's gonna have to find a farm of about 1,200 people she doesn't know just yet. She's looking to get in that neighborhood. And she has to identify about 240 people in her database that she can communicate in a systematic way and call. And this should work your plan. So 1,200 identified as a farm and 240 identified as your sphere of influence database, ride or dies. I can call them, I have no problem calling them. If you can't call them, take them out of your phone. Like just, it's like in the closet, right? We have the closet and there's a million sizes of pants. And you're like, one day I'm gonna get back into those. And it's really like, I don't wear a whole section of clothes in there. And it literally, I feel like, I think I heard Oprah say it once, like, I feel like it weighs on my brain that I have so many things that it would do me good if I got rid of everything that I really can't use, don't use, that I'll go buy new stuff when I can fit into it, right? So, I don't know how we're talking about, oh, the database, clean up your database, all right? Okay. Any ahas on that one?
I think, no, go ahead.
Good.
When you say clean up the database, I have people in there with a phone number, but it's a landline. I got some.
Yeah.
But I don't know them, but they're in my phone. Wait, just get rid of them. I mean, I'm sorry.
I mean, are they answering? Are you calling them? What are you doing with them? Okay, so here's what I say, like the old leads, maybe you give it one good round, like just call through them. Or if you have some of us here have a cyberbacker, some of us have an ISA or somebody that will call through them. And that's another thing is you might just want to find a younger agent that goes, I don't mind calling through them because I don't know them anyway. I definitely don't know them.
Right.
So I would just be calling saying like, hi, I see that you have inquired at some point, but you should just be saying, I see that you inquired at some point, you're in my phone. That must mean that you inquired at some point, you had a real estate need. Do you still have a real estate need?
If they can't.
Yeah, if they answer, if they don't answer, like, I don't know, I'll give them a couple of days and then get rid of them. Yeah, because you look at it and it goes, oh, but I have 1,000 people in my database, really? 85% of them, you have no idea who they are. So, and you talk to the same 20 people all the time.
Yeah, no.
Yes, and that's why there's a DTD2 schedule, which is do the database 2, which is 2 letters a week. For some of us, that may be a little confusing, and like, what letter am I on, and whatever, okay? I'm gonna tell you, even if you chose one letter every week and you start with A, January 1st, A, letter of the week. When I was in my zone, I had a letter of the week and a street of the week. So my letter of the week, I did A, then B, then C. There was no method to it. It was just go right through the alphabet, 26 weeks, and then do it again. And with the farm, I had a street of the week. So I would call the street. That was it. And Monday nights, I did follow-up. I called for sell by owners if they were in my farm. And that was it. And I did open houses on Sunday, door knocked on Fridays. And I was still working in the farm and working my database. There was no like, oh, I'm gonna go. I never did a bridal show. I never did, I didn't do some extra stuff because I knew where I was getting my money from. What I did do was I made sure I showed up at every baby shower and bridal shower and party, even if it was just for a half hour, because I knew personally for me, my physical energy was what was going to be attracting to others. If I was on a phone, I would get about half of the responses. So for me, it was important to show up at the party, even if it was like, I'm so crazy, I gotta go, bye. I got a showing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, please, it's exhausted. Okay. All right, so here's Chris, what are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I think there's a simplicity to this, that sometimes this feels like it's a lot more than it is.
Yeah.
And I think just taking a few minutes to like break it down, move it into a 411, like this is super bite-sized.
Yeah.
But it's about consistency and routine.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be over the top. You don't have to come up with some shiny, bright thing that nobody's ever seen before.
That's right.
It works. So keep it simple.
Keep it simple, silly.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
How large should your farm be? So for example, I think I have like 17 streets in my town that I target.
17.
Yeah. I just,
Okay.
17 streets that I target, but I haven't been consistent, right? So obviously I'm not really getting it from it at this point. So looking at this on Inspire, to go ahead, let's, buckle down and be consistent. But I'm thinking, like, is that too large? I just ordered all my calendars.
How many people live in the 17 streets?
Some are larger than others. I mean, I have to really think about.
I guess I'd have to know that number, because if it's a farm of about 500 or so, probably not. That's probably a good size farm. I mean, this is 1,200. Angela's got some big goals of 48 units. But 1,200 is probably where I got in year 3, year 2. After 80 turned into 350, and the 350 turned into 1,000. But here's what it would be. You're not consistent. You're not like penetrating any of those streets right now. So you have to figure out for you.
That's why I'm thinking, should I just put down and then just.
Yes. So some of our agents and some of our leaders, like good friends of mine, would say take 25 at a time until you really like gotten to know those 25, like got a phone call, either 25 a week, 50, to start to like really have some conversations, go out walking, get some marketing pieces for a few of those streets. Then once you see like, oh, these people are duds, so I'm gonna go over to this neighborhood, then you start to expand it. But I wouldn't bite off that whole elephant of 17 streets, knowing that it will take you 17 weeks to get through all of that.
For like the last, let's say, 5 years, they, some of them get calendars, some of them don't, so I haven't been consistent, like, do they get, some of them get my just sold, but with me it's a challenge because I'm fully in New York and I'm fully in New Jersey. So, but my sphere of influence is mostly New York because I was a Rockland girl, so that's where I'm from.
Okay.
However, I live here, so I'm trying to, and I have kids that go through the school system and that are still in it, so I'm trying to target market myself here because we have a higher price point. So it's it's really tricky for me to try and figure out where I'm going. I don't do any marketing work. I don't need to. They know me. They come to me like when they're ready, and that's that.
Let's just make sure that they're in your database and they're receiving electronic for those that you can. But for the 17 streets, I think that is a bit much. If you're saying you're doing 2, it does sound like it. I would probably maybe cut that in half then to see what streets can I truly like just penetrate for this first quarter. And can you really get through all those streets? Can you do some door knocking? Can you do calls? Can you really tell me that you've gone through the whole gamut of those 8 streets? And okay. Can you call?
Yeah, I can call.
Oh yeah, the Jersey side, you can call. Okay. All right. So
So what number or street number do you think is feasible to start with? Again.
well, I think that what are you committed to? The budget is going to matter because at 1,200 people that are going to be mailed consistently, that's what's $15 times that is going to be about 12,000. So that would be 18,000. That'd be an $18,000 budget to stay in 1,200 homes every single month. So that would be something that you go, is that something that I'm gonna do? I think for me, it was,
A month?
what?
You said 18.
No, for the year, sorry, for the year.
I was like, what?
18,000 for the year. However, I would think, I mean, thinking about it now, I would say 400 is a good farm to start with. 400 is a good farm to start with. I think that's manageable. I think you could break it into 100 a week that you look at and go, okay, this week I look at this 100, this week I look at this 100 and this one. And then the next month I start again at this. And maybe that's where you're looking to do CMAs for those houses. You're looking to make the phone calls into those houses. You're looking to find the emails to put them on the neighborhood nurture for those houses. It's not just like, oh yeah, I've claimed this farm and it's mine. It's like, are you truly trying to get everything that we just talked about to those not met homeowners so that you have a better chance of them really knowing it?
So that, from that, it's like those 400 people are getting the same.
Yeah. Mhm.
Every month.
On top of your sphere is. Your sphere of influence, even though, and I know you're saying they're in New York and they'll give it to you. I would say that your sphere here in Jersey, the ones that you're starting to develop or starting to develop, they should be on that 12 direct because they maybe don't know you as well as New York.
Right.
But the real secret of success in longevity of this game is everybody's on the plan. And I only expand the plan when I know I have the money to expand the plan and stay consistent with it. So you have to make that decision because I don't know where your income level is at right now. If you were starting fresh though, I would say, yeah, start with about 400, work it until you start to see business come from it.
Yeah, I just got 500 calendars, so I'm like, yeah, right around there, that's good.
Perfect. Chris, what were you gonna add?
No, added,
Oh, the simplicity.
Yeah.
Simplicity. Okay, so the budget model, we're not gonna go too much into it. We have about 10 more minutes here. The budget model, we talked a bit about it. We talked about the 30, 30, 40. Shanija? Okay, so budget and P&L. Here's one thing I will say, and I'm on a national profit share task force. And we talk often about what we're gonna do with our reporting and financing stuff. And one of the conversations that we always talk about is that our agents are not on a personal budget, and yet we talk about their business budget, okay? I'm gonna encourage you, if you don't have a household budget, that is the first thing that you need to identify so you know what you're working with. Too many people put the business budget way in front of the house budget, and then it causes problems at home or problems at work eventually because it catches up and you have to go make money, right? So my encouragement there is get yourself on a personal budget. There's many different tools. If you go into that template thing inside of our email, there's actually a budget tool there as well. But there are tools for budgets. I can go ahead and push them out into the Bergen County Partners Group and hold each dollar accountable. We went over the 30, 30, 40. I don't think we need to beat that. We went over the expenses versus the income operating versus the cost of sale. We clearly identified that. Net income is before taxes when we talk about net income in this model, because I don't know what your significant other tax bracket is at, because add your income to get, so we don't assess that. But in that lid exercise, we do ask you to put it back in so that you can make that money come in, right? And here, this is giving some example, and this is, it's interesting because a listing specialist inside of the MREA model, percentage of GCI, a listing specialist is usually on salary and gets a very small piece of listing income. Yes, and so a lot of people will be like, oh, I want to be a listing specialist, so I get on listing side. Yeah, and the Rainmaker is the one who's really built the business, and when you're a listing specialist, a lot of times, if you're developing your business, you're overpaying a listing specialist. So that's one thing, and then your buyer specialist, they're saying you're 25%. That's good praise. It's great. And this is best practices, so you can see this, and it's actually in the back here, where it will show you if your volume has generated a GCI of 3.4 million, if your volume has generated 340,000, 150,000 in commissions. And in the back,
page 12,
what is it?
page 12.
Oh, okay, page 12. And it will show you at 150,000, the cost of sale is 13%. At this point, this person is just paying a cap. The only thing they're accounting in here is the percentage of company dollar they're paying their broker. And this is a Texas office because they're mostly 18,000, 19,000. And the gross profits now would be 130. The expenses are 57,000. That's going to be marketing. That's going to be your bills, your MLS, everything that we talked about. But that is a marketing plan for this agent. And their net income on 150,000 at the end of the day will be 73,000. It may be a little bit more, but I want you all to be real with yourself. Do not go, well, I did 10 million in business and it was at 2.5%, so I probably made about 250. No, you probably took home about 160. At the end of the day, you said a referral. So when we talk about net, it's net after all your expenses. What are you paying taxes on, basically? And this is the grand operating expenses of the breakdown. Now I want you to check this out on your own, but this is called the chart of accounts. Okay, there's an MREA, chart of accounts. And if you go to Keller Inc., KELLERINK.com, and you go to the resources for the books, you will see the chart of accounts right there. It's downloadable and it's in Excel. You can import it into your QuickBooks if that's what you use, but it gives you all the breakdowns of the different categories that they assume as a millionaire real estate agent you will have. So it's a really good look for you. Say compensation, salaries, occupancy, vendor supply, income. So it's all broken down there for you. And then we look at, okay, well, what are we going to spend on? Compensation, regeneration, occupancy, education and coaching, supplies, office expenses, communication and tech, auto, equipment, insurance, all the operating expenses. So sometimes you're like, well, what is that? I don't use that. So then take it off, just take it off, make your own category. It's just an idea of what we found that the top agents, what they categorize their expenses on. Okay. And in the organizational model, as we said before, this is the leverage model. And in the leverage model, this is what the 7th level MREA looks like. That person has pushed themselves up so they have an actual CEO of their business. The CEO is looking at director of lead generation. You have people that are calling in, calling out. You have a whole telemarketing sales team, right? Inbound and outbound sales. The CEO also works as director of operations, transaction management, listing management, how everything, the actual process stuff. Director of sales. It's the top agent who becomes the guy who goes, you know what, you can take care of all the agents. Just make sure that the buyer's agents, the listing agents, the showing agents, everybody's inspired and they know what to do and they're out there working. So now the CEO has 3 people to check in and there's a huge team underneath it. This guy is off doing other things. He owns a mortgage company and he's got a technology company and he's got ancillary businesses, okay? That's what happens with that person. They get an expansion director. It says, listen, my vision is I want to be in every major city. Can you get this group in every major city? And what happens is this expansion director goes, okay, let me connect with the top leaders throughout the country. Hey, Colleen, can we put somebody in your office? Hey, Alyssa, can we put somebody in your office? Amina, can we go with, that's what the expansion director does. Finds the right locations for that person who's off doing something else to expand into other markets and create the whole system inside other markets. So big business, big business. When I got into the business, it was like, you could be a great real estate agent and you could make silver. Level 1, level 2, okay? And systems and models, it's gonna be systems or people, right? Systems or people, tools or people that are gonna get you to that next level. And at the end of the day, there's always gonna be a person involved, okay? So please remember, as you grow your businesses, there are whole people involved. Somebody's coming to work for you and they have a bad day, they have a bad life experience shows up. They're a whole person, right? So when you decide that you want to expand and have a business with other people in it, recognize that you're the leader and they're looking to you as that. You're responsible for them. You know, take some ownership of that a bit. They go down, you're going down with them. They go up, you're going up with them. You know, they're climbing, you're pushing. Push the tush, right? So I said that on a big call one day. Push the touch. Okay, so I'm gonna actually ask you all to do this. I would really, really appreciate it. Even those of you that are on Zoom. And I'm gonna, in a second, I'll ask you to do this. But I'm personally going to go for the Keller Williams instructor license. And I am about this close to getting it. The only thing that is in my way, the gap is 75 evaluations from agents who are not in my market center. So technically my license is in the Ridgewood office. So anybody who is not in the Ridgewood office, and even if you are, it will count towards something else. If I can get 75 evaluations, my goal is to do that before March 2nd, which is my birthday, so that I can supply that, March 2nd. And once I get those 75 evaluations, I've already gone through the classes to go ahead and become KWU instructor. And what that does, and I want to inspire all of you, what that does is that allows me to go and teach nationally classes like Business Planning Clinic, Profit Query, Profit Share Tree, listing, anything that's on KW, that KW curriculum was written, it would give me the right to be able to present it. And that is another business. And some of you that love teaching, training, coaching, speaking, we have that. So if you're interested in that, if you're on Zoom and you're interested in that, please let me know. But I would love if you would, and what you have to do with the evaluation tool though, is you have to kind of scroll down to the bottom. My name is not there, so you're gonna have to put no instructor and you're gonna have to type in my name because I'm not an actual approved instructor yet. So I'll go ahead and put it out there. But while I close up, because we got the people on Zoom, I just wanted to see what ahas do we have for at the end of this class? What are we gonna, what action steps are we gonna take? What's something, like one thing that maybe became a little clearer to you?
The rule of four.
The what?
The rule of four.
The rule of four conversations? Great, awesome. If you need to take a picture of anything, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I like to simplify.
Chris
because
is
I do feel
simplified.
overwhelmed, and so it's always so hard for me to put it together.
And they do nothing.
Yeah.
It's like you freeze. Like too much. You know what? I'm gonna go have a coffee.
Well, and to that note, like, I would just encourage everybody to simplify what your next step is from today. If it's, over the course of the next week, taking an hour to just go back through this paperwork, to go back through your notes, you know what I mean, to begin your 411. Like, you do not have to leave here tomorrow. Have like magically whip this whole thing up before Christmas. It is incredibly important to leave and to know what that next step is. And I think it's important to acknowledge that any progress is a step farther than
That's
you
right.
were before you did it. So if the progress from today is the information, fantastic. If the progress for tomorrow is that next Tuesday from 10 until 12, you're going to put together your marketing calendar.
Yep.
And next Thursday, you're going to define your farm.
I think he just gave you some homework.
No. I thought it's super relevant.
No, defining your farm, yeah.
Yeah. But whatever it is, like,
Be specific.
be specific and just be planful. Like, it does not have to all materialize, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On January 3rd. But can you do 3 things between now and the 3rd, and then between the 3rd and the 10th, another 2, and then all of a sudden at the end of January, you got 90% of this in place,
Yeah.
and now your year is gonna look totally different.
Yep.
So.
Thank you. It's like going back to that diet thing again, right? Like,
Seriously. Yeah.
is it better if we just eat the cookies and just forget about it because we're not gonna do all of the diet right now? No, because you're gonna sabotage yourself. You're gonna sabotage your business if you walk out of here going like, that was really great information.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so David Rodney, and we were talking about that yesterday, the education, what do you call it?
Infotainment.
Infotainment, something like that. But look, we're just not here to know for knowing's sake, and that's part of being a learning-based person, not knowing for knowing's sake. It's knowing for doing's sake. And so to Chris's point is, could I actually ask you, and those of you that are on Zoom, you can go ahead and put it there too. Could I ask you, what is that action step? What is the one simple thing that you will do leaving here, whether it's next week or today or whatnot? What is the one thing that you are committed to doing, leaving this class?
I would definitely calling their influence.
So using those 4 conversations to call your sphere of influence. When will you call them?
This week.
this week. It's a really great week. It's a holiday week, right? Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Great. Okay, so we're gonna follow up with Olivia and make sure she's doing that. Okay. All right. What's up? What else? Angela?
I'm gonna do the postcard.
The postcards. You're gonna identify your marketing plan for the postcards. Great. Dan?
I'm gonna revisit contacts I've made through open houses. I am going to, hand deliver some stuff I thought about.
Great.
Clients that I need to nurture a little bit more.
Okay.
As far as a bigger picture, definitely need to define my carve. I'm with a team, so they
Sure.
blanket everything. But I still have to carve out a niche for myself.
100%.
I would think.
They're doing a great job of spending some money there to get that brand out. Now you could just kind of piggyback on it and identify something inside there
Yeah,
to say, I want to work this pocket, because you're already doing some of it. So now I can add to that and we can really penetrate this market.
it's a small town.
Yeah.
Area, but,
So get the market share. Nobody has 100% market share, guys. Newsflash, okay? Even our top team does not have 100% market share. That means that there's opportunity out there for us to go get more. So what I'm hearing from you is just going back to your old open house leads, looking to see who you might have missed, right? And what was the second one you said? Steer?
I'm gonna hand deliver.
Hand
stuff
deliver.
Today, today or tomorrow, I just thought it'd be nice. and
Yep.
quick or something. I had a listing that I could have, that kind of faded away for personal reasons on her end.
But there's still a
Just-
referral, right? There's still,
Yeah.
there's still referrals that are possible.
Like you, I think I'm better in person.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's
sure.
how I go.
Okay, great. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go back in and redo my 33, 36, 39 touch and reorganize it. and-
Great. Commit, okay, Nadesh, Saturdays.
Yeah.
You gonna organize it?
I have a whole lot of names and information to
Okay.
type in because it's kind of coming from a spreadsheet already, so I have to fill and type all that in. It's a lot.
Okay, let's talk to one of your MCTTs, your Market Center Leadership Tech Trainer, because you don't have to type it all in, you can put it into Excel sheets and upload it. And you could also send it over to Scott Leroy, because they'll upload it for you. So I just don't want you to do something that you don't really all have to do, but it is good to be hands-on in your database sometimes, just because you touched it and you know it.
Yeah.
And then now, moving forward, it's clean, right? It's like when you hire somebody to clean out the closet, it doesn't, I come in, I'm like, oh, this is not where it needs to be. This is like, this is so, what did I pay this for?
My-
Oh, what are you gonna do?
my dilemma. I've been working on that, but I have like literally 3,000 contacts. No, I know I don't know.
Yeah,
Triple of one person. This is
Yeah.
a mailing list that I've done,
yeah,
and it's Scott Leroy up with it. So, but to pay someone, someone said pay someone, they don't know those people.
no, this is your activity.
I have to do it.
You have to do
I
it.
can't do nurture and all that
Listen,
stuff
Bill
until-
Boswell is a great owner in our company. He owns the Keller Williams in Wayne, and he knows everybody and their mother, but he'd be that guy that was gonna pay somebody to do his database, and he was like, I gotta do this, right? I gotta do this. He is the OP of that market center, and it was painful, but I will tell you, I remember when he did it, and he finally got through it. It was like, oh, but I know the people now. Now I know the people. Now I gotta go find more people, because I don't have that many people that I thought I had, right?
I think it's like an hour a day. just to do
Yeah.
that.
Perfect. So if you could put that in your schedule and time block that hour of day of you cleaning up your database, by the time January 10th comes, you'll have a clean database. Ariane,
I'm gonna also clean up my contacts, immerse myself in command while doing that.
sure, because that's gonna save you some dollars because you could do a lot of things electronically if you really know how to use that machine.
And define my new farm.
Define your new farm. Great. Chris, what about you?
Probably a little bit bigger picture, but, no, I think, today's a really good reminder, and sound like a broken record of just simplifying. I mean, the first one good, but
Great.
I think, like, maybe too complex, like, water it down, narrow the focus, like, you don't have to be great at everything, but you have to be really great at the things that you commit to.
Awesome. Well, mic drop on that. Thank you. All right. So, thank you, Ben, for taking care of that. That's Ben, Joanne's assistant. And, I love doing this. I am willing, if you have any questions as a follow-up, if you're on Zoom and you have any questions, if you're a follow-up and you're not in my coaching, that's okay. Just reach out so I can clarify some things for you. Because if you go into 2022 without a solid plan, and it, like, Chris is saying, it's not gonna be perfect, but you gotta know, like, well, this is where you're calling, what activities are you committed to, and if you can't figure out the whole year, just at least figure out the first 3 months. If you could just do that for yourself, I just know that you're gonna set yourself up for a much better 22. And for leadership, please do that. Because it's a lot easier on us to help you get what you want out of this career for you, if you're willing to meet us halfway and do the work. Then anything's possible. I know it sounds a little crazy for a brand new agent to go on 51 listing appointments. And if she wants to go on 51 listing appointments and she makes her calendar reflect that, you'll do it. So there are no limiting beliefs in this room, and I won't allow that. If you put a belief on it, it's because you did that. So we're gonna just be clear on what we want to accomplish in 22, create a plan, and we're gonna do it together. And also, you know, plug into stuff. I know there's some of the faces I see, some of the faces I see here, you're plugged in. Some of you are not plugged in. Like, we have morning calls to jump on, mindset calls, we have script calls, we have classes like this in-house, out-of-house. Brad Korn is our KW Master Faculty. He's not only KWU instructor, he actually went to the next level, which is Master Faculty, which is my goal. And I encourage you, anytime you see Brad Korn's name, get into his class. He's gonna remind you of the same things and keeping it simple, but it's gonna be the right thing to do to get your business on the right track. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Thank you. Joanne, all right, bye guys, bye guys. There are a few members in here that are on teams, whether you're on a team and you're inside of someone else's business, actually 2 of you are sitting together and the 2 of you are on a team. So you have someone who has gotten that mindset of, I'd like to have a business and have people inside of it, working in it, having a life worth living, a business worth owning inside of my business worth owning, life worth living. So I personally know they're 2 rainmakers and I give them mad props. Kelly's actually on this class, and you would think for many years, why would she need this? Every single one of you need this every single year. And I say twice a year. Mid-year business planning clinic, I like to offer in June, July to say, like, where are we at? Let's not get to September and November and start freaking out, because you can do really nothing about it in September, right, Ariane? Ariane will always remind us.
That it's March.
Yeah, and it's March. Ariane will always remind us that we are 3 months out. What we're doing today, this day, is actually affecting March 20th. It's not going to show up in January 10th, January. And so we have to be business minded to know that we gotta, like, wait for the harvest. You're sowing seeds and the harvest comes 3 to 6 months later, always and forever. So when we're in this business, something else that happens often is we get busy, and we get, with the busyness, we put down the business and we stay in lead generation. We don't get in lead generation mode. We get in, let me fix every fire that's coming my way. Let me handle this client over here. Let me, you know, and then what happens is you have replaced looking for new business with existing business, and 3 months later, you're standing at Colleen or my door going, I don't have any listings. I don't have, oh my God, my business is so crazy. I got nothing going on. And you're like, because you didn't do this. You did this. You didn't do this. You did not do consistent lead generation. And that's what lead generation model is going to talk about, but economic model is going to create your plan of, well, how many people do you need to be talking to? How many appointments do you need to be on? Now, I start this just to say, these are the things that you have to think about. If you go into this few hours and we haven't thought about, well, okay, what does my schedule look like? How many people am I committed to helping this year? How much money do I really need to make? So what I'd like to do right now at the beginning is just to do a quick lid exercise, which some of you have done. Some of you are at. Some of you are on Quantum Leap, and some of you know what the lid exercise is. But I want to go through a quick lid exercise so that all of you can individually do it, and you have clarity on what you truly desire to make, okay? Because anything less than what you do make, it's of our doing. It really is of our doing. So where's my marker?
No, thanks, sweetheart.
Okay. So anybody know this formula, this lid? Anybody seen it? Just Raise a hand. You've seen it before. Jean Rivers did it with us. I know Kelly Weber's on here. She was sitting over next to me, so I know she saw it. This is the lid exercise. He goes through it and it's a little confusing. I feel like I'm 17 years, right? 17 years and things are still making sense. 17 years of listening to Jean Rivers, and this is the first year that I'm like, oh, I got it now. Okay, I got it. So here's something you all need to embrace. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The same man doesn't walk in the same water. It's not the same man, it's not the same water. Just imagine standing in a street and then going back the next year, standing in the same spot. Are you the same person? Is that the same water? It's life. So expect it. There's a great
Yeah.
book I've read a million times.
Combined on this.
I know.
What the fuck?
Is,
I don't know.
I don't know how to fix it.
Don't
I don't
worry
know
about
either.
it.
I don't know either. Huh?
Tom Moore.
It's Tom. Tom needs to be muted. Okay. It's called The Traveler's Gift, right? Andy Andrews. It's a fun book. It's like, I don't know, 12 chapters or so. And every chapter is a different adventure. It's a different journey. And what he does is he starts to tell you, he goes into a deep sleep or something happens in the first thing and it's a dream, right? And what he does is he says, I woke up in this place and da-da-da-da, and you start going, where is he? What time is he in? And he learns a lesson from a very famous person that we then discover at the end of the chapter. My favorite chapter is Discipline Your Disappointments. And I say it all the time. Even my husband and I are going in something, I was like, let's discipline our disappointments. Let's set some expectations of what we're willing to accept. And then if that happens, we're okay with it. But let's not go into this with like, oh, because then you're just gonna get crushed. And I want you all to understand that in this business, you're going after a listing, you're learning. You're gonna go take that listing. You're gonna choose if that seller is for you. And you know what, if it doesn't work out, there's a reason why it didn't work out. If it was your fault, learn from it, pick up and know that that was the lesson. It was an expensive lesson. Maybe it was a $26,000 commission lesson. But I promise you, you'll learn from it. So discipline your disappointments. Lid. Student being ready. Lid. Lifestyle. This is your lifestyle. Without any hesitation and no limiting beliefs, what is your lifestyle goal? Somebody tell me what you desire to live on monthly. Now you got your mortgages are paid. Your cars are paid, your insurance, your healthcare, all that's paid, your phone. Now you're going out to dinner whenever you want. You're going on vacations whenever you want. You're helping your elderly mother, your kids, whenever you want. How much money do you have coming in monthly for the lifestyle? And I say you do 2 tiers, but for the lifestyle that you desire right now, somebody yell it out, a monthly number. 40,000. Great. Love that you did not limit your thinking. So 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. There's Karen Kleiman in the house. Love it. 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. How much do you need a month to live a very good lifestyle for you right now? Okay. Realistically, I'm very open in these things. Okay. Mortgages are going to run me 5,000, 6,000 with 2-3 houses. Okay. Cars, what are they going to run? Oh, they're going to run about 1,000. When you start adding it up, you're at a bare minimum of 10,000 to 12,000 in most families. Now you say, now I want to go on a trip once a month. That's 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. I want to go here because you start adding it up, and 20,000 is really not much. So I'm going to go ahead and put here 20,000, but I'm going to tell you that's probably the minimum in our area where we live as what would be comfortable for a household to bring in to be able to live on. Huh? Plus McDonald's that runs $42 for 3 kids in a car. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have got the burgers and fed the whole community for that, right? Hi, Karen. Karen Kleiman is from our Tenafly Market Center, right? We introduced before. How long you been in the business?
20 years.
20 years.
I mean, both.
Congratulations. Congratulations. That is an accomplishment. How many units is that and what's the volume? 42 units. 32. And what's the volume? That is awesome. Congratulations. Well, we're proud of you. And that is a great accomplishment. So that could be a goal for people. I want to make Circle of Excellence. Circle of Excellence is $2.5 million in production and 15 units. usually in our area, the challenge is the units. So you get smart. A business owner goes, okay, how am I gonna get my units for next year already? Well, you could buy a unit. You could serve on a committee. There's ways you could give to RPAC. There's 3 units right there. You can get 3 industry units. Now you just gotta figure out how you get the 12 real units. And you can make a plan and that could be a goal. The next level up after bronze though is silver. And where are we at with that? 5 million, ladies and gentlemen?
5 million and 25
Okay.
million.
And remember, this is a New Jersey Association award. So I don't know what the spectrum is for New York licenses, but this is a New Jersey award. So lifestyle. So let's say you say, oh, I need 20,000 and I'll show you 20,000. I personally had to do 30 and then I did a stretch of 50. But 20,000, you're gonna need 20,000, it's $240,000 for the year you need, right? Investments. And this is something that, once again, I did not really grasp or like just own until more recently. And especially during COVID, it was a wake up for a lot of us to look at what we spend money on, what our goals are, what is bringing us money in, what's wasted, what's passively earning. And so investment, I believe in real estate. Some of you say, I'm in stocks, I'm in crypto, I put my money here, whatever works for you. The one thing I can say though is we are in real estate. Do we believe in our product? I think we do. I believe that I'm preaching to the choir. We believe in our product. And so year over year over year, the asset increases, right? And somebody lives in it and they pay it off. So we're kind of like the OPP, other people's money, OPM, right? So this is a product that if you go and buy a stock, you have to put 100% of the money that you're going to put into that stock. Yeah, that's what you have to pay, right? But if you buy a house, piece of real estate, 20% will get you out of PMI. I mean, you could do it with less, but if you're an investor, 20%, 25, 30%, but 20% will get you a property, and you still could put somebody else in there and they could pay off the whole big note that you owe, the 100% of it. So just, it makes sense that real estate would be an investment vehicle for us. And Gary Keller always says that, why do you get a real estate license? Well, the first reason you should get is that you get all the deals at your fingertips. Not the ones that even hit MLS. The ones that they call you. Hey, Ariane, can you come over and check it out? I think I need to redo my kitchen. Oh, why? Oh, because we were moving. Oh, well, you know what? We have a contract with this, and I'm also a realtor. I can help you out, figure out if you need to move now. Guess what? You don't even have to do that kitchen. I'll just pay you cash for it. I'll just pay you X amount. You don't have to go through the hassle of putting the kitchen in and getting the thing up to CO. We'll take it with a temporary CO, and now you just got yourself a deal because she got a listing call. Or she got a call on her other business because she's a business owner and she's got a contracting business. So you flip that around and you go, why do I have to list everything? You don't have to list everything. Gary Keller tells you, you get the first things at your fingertips. Do you want it? And when people say, oh, I have all these investors, everybody always wants an investment. It's not always going to come that easily, but you should have a piece of your database that is an investor roster, that anytime you do go to a listing or somebody's talking about a house or you find an absentee owner who goes, I'll get rid of the house tomorrow if you get me a buyer. What do? Oh, great, let's put it on the market. No, great, let me bring it back to my investors, see if I got somebody first. Let me be a value and of a resource for those people. And then let me put it on the market because we got options here. So the investment here is how much money are you willing to invest in a year? What are you committing to? What's your business plan for investing? Now, are you looking to, now this goes into your whole long-term plan. My husband and I have decided we want 40 doors. I am 43, so I don't have all the time in the world to acquire those doors so that those doors give me the lifestyle I desire. But if we say I want 40 doors and we have 3 now, what's the gap? The gap is 37 homes. How are we going to get 37 homes? Well, we have to have a plan. Over the next 15 years, we'll buy 2 homes a year. Hopefully up at a couple, maybe 2 or 3 family will get me 3 doors. So if I'm going to commit to two a year as a small plan right now, I know that 20% of what's the product you're going to buy. Are you buying in Pennsylvania where you could buy something for 150,000? Nobody said you have to go, are you buying in upstate New York where you can buy a nice Pocono house, I mean, a Catskill house, and then Airbnb it out? People are getting wealthy on Airbnbs. Okay, so there are different ways to do it, but what are you willing to invest in real estate or in your investments for the year? Personally, our product is about 400, so we will need $80,000 for each product. Our desire is to buy 2 a year. You need to put your number. What are you going to put as investment for the year? So go ahead and write that down. Are you going to buy one house at 30,000? Are you going to put 10,000 in stock? Are you going to buy 2 houses like Godfrey and I? This means I'm going to live tight on other things. I'm telling you right now, but I'm okay with it for the next couple of years. So now you have 240 you need for this, 160 you need for this. Now add this up is 400,000. Guess what else? D, debt. What do you think falls in debt? Well, real debt. If you got credit card, that's got to get paid off first, okay? So if you got that, you just got to put that number. If you have what? Well, so mortgage is a healthy debt, right? That's going to be a difference of Ramsey train of thought or everybody else in the world. So whatever you desire with that, that's up to you. But yes, Karen, if you can go completely mortgage free, now you're liquid. That's the whole goal of all these investments. Student loans, right? Car loans, stuff like that. Get rid of it if there's a high interest rate. Credit cards for sure. The biggest debt you're going to hit is your taxes. We do not account for our taxes, and then that becomes a big issue. Because I've been doing this 17 years. Out of the last 13, I've been a leader. Well, I've been a leader the whole time, right? You're all leaders. But I'm a leader of the organization. So then I have all of you come and go, oh my God, I don't have any tax money. Oh my gosh. So now on top of it, in February, I went through, I have no business. And then in March and April, it's like, I have no money. It's like a really great time for a team leader up until about May. Then you guys start making money and we calm down. I don't like that lifestyle. And that happens to you all every year. It happens to us every single year. And it's got to stop. The way you stop it is consistently generation and planning business. Not just going like, oh, I hope this year I have an increase. Hope it goes up by 20%. It should naturally go up because your sale price should go up because inventory increases in value year over year over year over year, unless we have a big dip. That hasn't happened in a very long time. If you've heard some of my classes before, or you've been in coaching with me, you know one of my favorite things to rely on is the vision speech. So I'll have that posted out later again, but you can find the vision speech. Gary Keller puts the vision speech on twice a year, one in family reunion in February, another in mega camp, which is in August or September. And what he does is he gives a state of the industry. And he gives you snapshots of housing affordability, interest rates, home prices, home sales. Those are indicators that will always dictate what's going on. And then you throw the other one in there, gross domestic product. So what's going on in the economy? And here's another thing that I realized. My sister makes fun of me because I don't really watch the news. There'll be a shooting, there'll be a this, there'll be a that. I'm like, wait, what? What's happening? You don't watch anything. No, because it's so depressing. However, as a business professional, you do need to watch some numbers. You need to watch what's going on in the world because our industry, housing, is affected by everything that's going on out there. Here's one thing we did learn. COVID did not take away housing. COVID actually increased the need for housing. Housing, making it comfortable, changing housing, changing kinds of lifestyle. Housing is a commodity that does not go away when there's a pandemic or even a depression. When there's a depression, guess what? The wealthy will buy the inventory. People will need to rent and live in, and you'll have tenants. We will always need shelter. So this is a commodity that does not go away. So that's why we watch gross domestic product. We watch how it affects our industry. So we can see things coming at us. And that's why I encourage you to watch Vision Speech when Gary presents it in February and at Mega Camp, because you will always see the indicators that are telling us what's happening next year.
It's incredible, actually. The way he explained it, totally in depth each slide. Is it okay, babe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it's incredible because he explains also Canada, because we do have Canada for
Yep.
associates that are there. But it's really interesting to see how what really drives our market for us to be more successful. Because as you know, the lines where houses And the bidding for houses is crazy, so
Yeah.
everybody has an opportunity to make some money in this market.
Absolutely, and I don't see it slowing down. It doesn't look like it's slowing down. We don't see any indicators. What the one thing that's gonna put us, like a, you ever get like a bike chain and all of a sudden it gets like cranked up because like a little pebble got stuck in it, right? So that one thing that will do that to our industry is the mortgage rates, right? Those of us who've been in it for a while. Mortgage rates increase, mortgage rates decrease, buyers get fickle, sellers get crazy, more for sale by owners, more expireds. I mean, all this stuff starts happening. Right now, everybody's just like smooth sailing. Oh, you want that house? What are you gonna pay? You won't pay it? Okay, well, you'll pay it. Oh, you want a list? Okay, well, oh, you don't need 5%. I mean, you guys have real issues and yet not. Properties are selling and they're selling at an all-time high. Taxes. Here's what he's saying, and this sounds crazy, but it's really not. 50% of whatever these two numbers, so you add your L and your I, you get your big number, take 50%, you're gonna need that kind of money for taxes. Now you add that up together and you are at, I have to make $600,000 income in order to have the lifestyle of $20,000 a month while still paying my taxes and investing in 2 properties for the year. So this is like real numbers from Mary Beth. There's a gap. How am I gonna close it? A coach, a mentor? I don't know, that's my answer actually. I got a mentor, I got a very, very high level thinking mentor. And I have an awesome, awesome coach. Okay, so now we have this number. Do you guys have a number? Is it a scary number in front of you? Some people want to share your number. You can share your number in the chat too. They do allow you to factor in New York Business for Circle of Excellence. Go ahead, somebody share your number. Mine's 600. Huh? What is it? You got 600? You did my exercise, so you got 600? Okay. What'd you get? 700? 660?
675.
675?
700,
Okay, so it's just, you were scared saying that. Say it out loud.
300.
How much?
300.
$300,000.
Mhm.
Okay.
See, mine was the 120, if I did the 40 that I started with, the 40K,
Uh-huh.
it would give me 1,200.
1.2 million, you mean?
Huh?
1.2 million?
Mhm.
It's 1.2 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
My big number is 1.2 million.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I will share with you, because we're gonna dive into this in a second. I would encourage you, take a little wheel and start thinking about where's your biggest income right now? Where's your income coming from? And this is what where are the spokes of my income? Okay, so we have profit share. My profit share is up again. We're good. We're good. We're back on track. It's like 50,000 right now for the year. It could go to 1 million, and I'm gonna keep growing that. But my profit share, is yours 5,000? Is it 10,000? Is it nothing? And you're like, I want some. How do I get some? We'll talk about that in a different class. But profit share. Then you have your sales, your commission, your GCI. You're earning commissions. So how much are you getting from that? You know, for some of us in this room, it might be like, oh, 200,000 comes from that. Oh, 500,000 comes from that. 100,000 comes from that. Maybe you have another business, contracting business or whatever. What is your business that you have? What is, for me, you have rental income. So I have some rentals. For me, it might be a salary of something. So you start looking at, and then you start putting dollars. How much am I making off of this, right? And then you figure out what's the gap. Because when I looked at that, I was like, okay, profit share, I have it's bringing in about 5,000 a month. Profit share. If profit share is bringing in 5,000 a month, but I have a goal of like, Matt, if it could do 5,000 with a little focus and energy and effort, maybe it could do 10,000. Wow, 10,000. Then it could do 20,000. So next year is 10 and it's 20. Now, what activities, and I start writing, what activities do I have to do to increase that? So your GCI right now, that's gonna be this stuff right here, okay? Economic model. Now, I like to do that first because without that, you have no clarity on what numbers you're even talking about. Forget about saying, well, I wanna do 24 sales, I wanna do 70 sales, okay, what is it gonna afford you to do? Because I promise you, if you hit it, and you didn't have to do 70 sales, and you hit it in 40, and you got all that time back, because maybe your price point went up, or you figured out how to increase your commission and your price point went up, You could cut your 70, could look like 40, which then you got a whole bunch of time back. And now you can go on vacation, all that stuff. So are you designing your life, or are you just going, oh, it was a good year, but oh my gosh, am I exhausted? Because that's how I feel for the last 2 years, and I'm done. I'm tired of that. So let's get on to this. Is John? How do I touch it? Is it here? Yeah, you did that. Okay, so once again, we're talking about MREA. Okay, perfect. So getting started, we're getting started models and mindset. It could just be that arm. No. Yeah. We're good. Okay. All right, so understanding power of 5 fundamental models, creating a business plan and executing your plan. That's what you're here for today. First thing is mindset. So mindset, we just did a little bit of mindset. We removed some beliefs, some limiting beliefs. So we have models, and then you can get creative. But a lot of us in this business, because you've done things before that have worked in the past in others' lives, that you get creative, and then you want to talk about models, create models over on your creativity. There are models for a reason. So let's master the models first. This is your E to P. Now, E to P, anybody E to P? I mean, it's probably on here, but E to P, what does that mean? Entrepreneurial to purposeful. Entrepreneurial, which is what you all were doing, just naturally, to then when you got on your game and you're like, okay, no, I need to hit my contacts. Here's how many calls I make a day. That's being purposeful. So if you look, E to P is in the first section of the book. When you're in your MREA, the first section of the book up until page 123 is your mindset. So if you're having a challenge with mindset, go back into your MREA, the red book, and read your first section of the red book, which is all about how the millionaire mindset thinks. About the first 100 pages of the book, okay? And then what we say is, have you ever had an experience where, like, weight loss? You're looking to lose 30 pounds, and you say, I'm gonna stop eating after 7, and I'm gonna cut some of the sugars. And you do that for like maybe 3 weeks, and you hit 10 pounds. And then you're like, okay, I'm not losing any more. Like, you kind of hit a ceiling, right? You hit a wall. It also happens at 3 o'clock, right? You get that 3 o'clock coffee, you hit a wall. But you hit a wall, so you need to do something different. And maybe you're like, okay, you know what? Now I need to start incorporating good fats. Or now I need to start incorporating or take away all the breads. And then you go into, you know what? They hit the next 10 pounds and you're like 20 down. What's the next step? Maybe you need to go work out. Then the next step, maybe you need to get a personal trainer. So those are all moments of breaking through the ceiling and finding, going from entrepreneurial, it's working for me. I thought I was doing good. Now I kind of just do it naturally. And now I need the next level of accountability. Okay. And in your business, for me, my first year in the business, I did 5 listings and 12 buyers. I'm sorry, 5 listings, 16 buyers, 16. The next year I did 12 listings, 16 buyers. What was showing up was the ceiling of how many people I could actually handle on the buy side. So in order for me to break through that ceiling, there was no way I was doing more business than that. At 28 transactions by myself, I had to put in an assistant and a showing agent, like immediately in that spring. Because I went then to, I think it was 18 listings and 20 something buyers. But I couldn't break through that unless I had either a system or a person or a tool. And that is this breakthrough, okay? Then you can get creative. When you're working the model, you can get creative. Next is think like a millionaire. These are the 9 ways that a millionaire real estate agent thinks. Think powered by a big why. When we do that exercise and you say the big why should be the lifestyle that was inside that L. Inside that L. I see Anna in the packet. In the packet, we would be just right in the beginning. Right in the beginning, where am I today? So page 7, right, the big Y, page 7. So when you look at your L and you decide what was in that 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, that becomes your vision board, that becomes your focus, that becomes your why, because you want that lifestyle. Okay? That's what all that's gonna afford. So there is homework to do after this. The last couple of weeks, I have been spending a lot of time with myself, and I was saying to Joanne and Steph, in my own bedroom, I have a whiteboard, and we have stickies all over the walls from ideas of what we're doing for 2022. It's just that time of year to get it out of my brain and help and get it out to my partner, my husband, to ensure that we're in alignment so we can put some things into action. So in your business, you need to be in alignment with your business partners, whether it's you're working on a team, whether it's you have a spouse in the business, you have a significant other in the business, you have a partner. You know, Chris is going to be my partner here as a productivity coach. So in alignment is so important. But if nobody's communicating and speaking, and if you're not thinking about this stuff, this is where most of the money is made in the thinking. Okay? So we think big, we think by a power, big by a big why. We think big goals, big models, big value in customer service and experience. Experience is everything right now. People love experience. And the young generation loves experience. Hello. There are packets in the back. So I would encourage you. So like yesterday, one of our agents from the Ridgewood office accidentally received a Shutterfly box from somebody down in my area. So she went above and beyond. She said, you know, I found like this was a good opportunity to connect with her. Maybe she has some real estate needs. Could you take the box and bring it to her, or could she come pick it up? Right? So that was great customer service. It wasn't even her customer. It was a potential client. Do you not think that we earned this girl's business? Her and I were like best buddies last night. She came over to the house. I brought her in. My son's trying to do his homework. We're all crazy. And she brought us a little box of cute socks, like 5 socks in a box. And it said warm. And the whole thing was, you know, just keeping you warm in the holiday season. Now she did, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl like outdid us. Like Lucia put some stuff in the Shutterfly box, but then I got 2 presents. And she's like, what's this? I go, oh my gosh, the lady, we should get her into the business. So I did say, hey, you'd be good at my business. She said, what was that? And that is a line, guys. When you're out there at restaurants and parties, or there's a server at one of your houses that's, you know, for a party, you'd be great in our business. Well, what business is that? Real estate. Why do you think I'd be great in your business? You're so personable. Why don't I get you an appointment with one of our productivity coaches, one of our team leaders, one of our Mary Beths, whatever, will help you. Bring them on. Customer experience, 2022, all about customer experience. People are tired, people are nasty, people just want to be loved on. I had a very bad Friday in Apple and in Best Buy and in the pharmacy for the COVID test. That I honestly was like, I can see how people are miserable if this is what they experience every day, everywhere they go. Let's be the joy in the world, okay? Think competitively and strategically. That's why you're sitting here, because you're not just gonna do whatever, you're gonna have a strategic plan for yourself. For your sellers, the market's going to get crazy. If the interest rates do hike, you're going to be more in a consulting mode than ever. Mr. Seller, let's revisit what the motivation is. Why are you doing this in the first place? How important is that to you? That kind of stuff is competitively and strategically. If you're not in a relationship with your clients, you're not going to know how to be strategic for them. Think action and accountability. Action and accountability. It's not just going to happen. You know, many of you know I'm totally a God girl. God gave us the ability to do. He gave us the wisdom to go and do. He's not going to do it for you. You know, I'm a total Christian woman, but I love when people are like, oh, but God's going to do it. No, God's not going to do it. He gave you the legs, arms, mind to go do it. So action and accountability. Think talent, systems, and standards. Do you have standards in your business? Your standard would be, you're not taking this listing because they're not going to give you the commission that you desired. They're not going to let people in the house like you are asking. They're not going to put a lockbox on, and they're not going to price where you want them to price. So you still going to take the listing? And some of you go, okay. And then Joanne and I have to deal with that because they're calling the office and standards. When will they call you? Does your machine say, hi, and mine does not, but if this is a message and it's received after 7 p.m., you will get a call the following business day. You know, if you're at home taking care of kids and you have a husband and you got to cook and clean and you got stuff going on, it is okay that 7 o'clock you shut down. It's okay at 5 o'clock you shut down. You teach people how to treat you. If your clientele is an early riser, Angela texted her the other day. I said, oh, I'm sorry. So I said, I'm at 5:30. I know she's on Peloton, 5:30. If you know your clientele, you could easily go, hey, I can grab a call at 7. I have talked to many clients at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. You can't get me at 9 o'clock. I'm not going to answer this phone right now. You can't get many people at 9 o'clock until their lunchtime. So if you have a real desire to do more business, you may have to switch. What time do you call people? Now, people will go, oh, Danny, you're going to call them that early? You call somebody at 8 o'clock in the morning? If I need to sell my house, I would appreciate if you want to call me at 8 o'clock in the morning to get everything done so I can go about my day knowing that I talked to this guy instead of wondering, like, when he's probably going to call me at 5 o'clock and I'm cooking dinner and I have too much going on and I can't focus. So know your clientele and understand you may have to shift a little bit and then understand what your schedule is and set your standards that this is when I work and this is when I don't. And it is okay. I know, like, one of our offices has put a reply email saying that it's after hours. We'll be back in the office at 9 o'clock. If you need help, there's a chat that you can, it's open until 11 or whatever time it's open till. And it diffuses everybody. If you told your clients that I'm not available right now, but call me at 8 o'clock in the morning, they'd go, oh, okay, I'll go at 8. All right, so action having talent system standards, think knowledge and skills. You're here, knowledge and skills you have to be learning based. The market will always change. Talk about the waters, think persistence and resilience, and think profit. If you don't think that you're going to have some resilience in this business, 17 years, did you have to have some resilience in the business? Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Do our feelings get a little hurt sometimes? Yeah. Do we wonder why did they choose us? Right. That's your high I coming out. Some of us don't give a rat's. However, some of us really care. High S behavior might not even go after it because what if they don't want me? I don't want them to then look at me at the kids' game and then they didn't choose me and then they feel bad. You know, forget it, I'm not going to do it. Okay, that happens to some of you and that has to stop because what you really need to say is, God forbid they go and list with the wrong agent and then I got to stand on the soccer field with this lady and she's going to tell me all the horror stories and I could have just been the agent that helped her get to the finish line very nicely. So get angry, like, you know, not angry, but get like, I deserve to help those people because I'm the best person for them. I may not know their market, I may not know their house, but you know what? It's really easy to learn the business. It's really easy to go learn the inventory. Chris, could we just go preview houses, right?
Absolutely.
Could we study 10 years of inventory through an MLS, right? When I got on the MLS back in 2004, there was like, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years of data. That was it, because MLS had just started like a few years prior to me getting into the business. I know that seems very foreign. How would people search? They had books.
Yes.
And one side of the county had the yellow book and the other side had the blue book. So if I wanted to go sell it, and so you talk to some older agents when I first got into business and they were still working off of the books and I go, oh no, like I had to educate a few, like you just got to go on that MLS, everything's there. But that was not the case. So here's the other thing. Some of your customers have experience, their customer experience was very different because their house was purchased 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Some of them have raised their children look like me. And they're still in the house and they're going to move out of the house. Their experience with their real estate agent and what they thought they needed them for, what we do, what the process is, was totally different. So you have to educate. So you think like, well, that sounds like they should know that, right? You spending an hour explaining to them makes you an expert, amazing. She's brilliant. She knows so much. And literally you could just recite the buyer consult right out of command. And they'd be like, oh my God, you're brilliant. You're like, now Laura Goldberg on our call this morning, she closed her first house yesterday. We're really proud of her. She's a full-time teacher. And she said, oh my gosh, I know what to do now. So for some of you who haven't actually gone through it, But when you get finished with that first buyer, that first seller, you go, oh, okay, I saw the whole process through. I know now. Now I know what I don't know and what I do know, and now I am more confident to go tell people I can help them. So if you are that agent, and if you're that agent that's watching and you're like, that's me, maybe try to reach out to a more experienced agent and just partner with them on something. You know, if you're not in coaching, reach out to me and we can figure out if coaching is right for you. But don't let that fear like stop you from going to do business, because you put a lot of time to go get your license and you've done your, you know, you paid your price. Let's get you some GCI, right? So, all right, the cheat sheet, are we gonna send that cheat sheet out? I think somebody sent it. 500,000, thank you, Casey. Casey, I wanna make that happen for you. And Angela, it should be in the chat. Okay, awesome. All right, so here's the 411. Wait, did I skip one? Think powered by a big Y, think big goals, big miles. So now, we're not gonna do a 411 today. We're gonna talk about it for a second though. How many of you have ever operated off of a 411? Okay, I see some hands, perfect. Joanne, you operate off of 411? The market center, yes, okay. So 411 is 4 weeks, 1 year, 1 month, 1 year, right? It is the way you would break down all of those goals that you have and put it into a monthly, weekly worksheet. As far as how you organize yourself, I personally like this. I'm a book girl. I guess it might be my age. I also went to college for sculpture. So 5 years at West Virginia University. And yeah. Sculpture?
No, West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia, Mountie. Woo. Did you graduate?
Yeah, no, I did.
The very few. Good job, girl. High five. I was there 5 years. I loved it. And it took us out of our element, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you got to West Virginia from you're a Jersey girl all your life, and you go to West Virginia and you realize, like, you know, there's life outside of New Jersey, and it's very different, and it's slower. And, you know, for some people, they just enjoy life a little bit more too. There's a lot of nature out there. Got to experience that. And I think it also brought a perspective coming into the real estate business, is that I don't know how Chris lives. I don't know how, you know, I don't know how you all live, but you're all different and you're in my world, and we just got to coach the whole person and we got to handle the whole person, right? So, but I like to look at the whole month. This is January, so we have one thing planned so far. We have lots of stuff that's happening this weekend. And then I go into the weekly snapshot. This is me in the art of writing, because when you write something down, you will remember it. It's more real. It's the, you know, the faintest memory doesn't compete with the pen or something, or the pen, one of that, you know, one of those. Then I take this and I put it in the Google, because why? Because in the world of COVID, we are on Zoom a lot. And if I don't know what Zoom link I need to be on, I just won't be there. So I take this and I translate it into Google. So whatever works for you, but it cannot just be that you have a note in your phone. It cannot be that you you wrote it down somewhere. A purposeful business owner is not working off of Post-its. So look up in the room, for a second. Purposeful business owner is not working off of Post-its, okay? And we need to be purposeful. So what happens here? We're gonna take our goals, we're gonna put our goals into the annual. Goals such as, I will close on 12 listings. I will close on 12 buyers. I will grow my net worth by 500,000. I will, on the personal side, I will vacation twice a year with my spouse and once with the kids. Christmas will be whatever, big rocks, annual. Then you go into the monthly. Well, if I'm supposed to close on 12 listings, what do I need to be doing in January? This would be for January and set it up, right? Because we're in the middle of December. Every single month you revisit it. Every single month you fill out the monthly, because the annual is up there. So now the monthly starts to reflect. What would you do in January if your goal was close 12 listings? What might be something you need to do in January? Go ahead, what? Get a listing? Prospect for listings?
Have them under contract.
But what 15% of your units, and hear this, 15% of your units should be under contract in January. for the whole year. So if your goal is you want to do 15 units, well, no, help me out here. If you want to do 10 units, 1.5 units would have to be under contract in January. So 20 units, you need 3 under contract in January. If you're not rolling into January with any business under contract, okay, all right, let's get on it now. No sense in worrying about what wasn't done. Let's just clean slate, let's move forward. And let's next year not let that happen. Now, I have 2 specific coaching clients that happened. Last year, they said, I'm not letting this happen again. This year, one has 3 closing in December, 3 closing in January, and 2 listings coming on in January. Do you not think she feels right now? The other one, she's got 3 closing this month, 2 more next month, and 2 coming on January. She feels very at ease. Then I have some others that they don't, and it's feeling a little, anxious. Okay, so if I put in here, set up my campaign, my marketing campaign, right? Because I want 12 postcards to go out to my farm. I'm gonna put it here. That's what I'm gonna do in January, is decide the pieces, decide the month, put the plan together. Then maybe the first week of January, I'm printing those labels, designing the marketing piece, that's what's there. So you start to break it down. Now you don't go, okay, here's the month, and now let me break it down and plan out the whole month weekly. You just roll into the first week with what am I gonna do this week? That if I don't do it, it actually moves over to the next week and then some. So it will snowball. And so if you efficiently work through a 411, I promise you, even if you just do it once a month, you will be so on point with your business. It's when we forget this, and I am that person. I'll get off of 411 and I'm like, oh, you know what? That's what it is. My 411 is not done. When does the 411 get done? It should get done on a Sunday night. On a Sunday night, a Saturday, a Friday, before you go into the new week. I typically take a half hour on a Sunday after church, after mom's house, after all the craziness. It's about 7 o'clock at night. Maybe hubby's watching the game or something. And I take a quick half hour look at my schedule, look at my goals, make sure I know where I'm supposed to be. Go, oh, you know what? I got to squeeze one more appointment in. Let me see where I could do that. And then I go into Monday going, yesterday I was with Chris and the other coaches, and I felt okay not looking at the phone because I had everything, I communicated with everybody. If something's gonna come in after 9:30, it's okay if I get to it after 2. If it's an emergency, they call the market centers. So we don't have to respond to everything like, oh my God, it's an emergency. Your failure to prepare is not my emergency. Now, if it's house on fire, okay, we'll take care of it. Nobody's dying or having a baby. And if you are, that's an exception. Listings, leads, leverage. We should know this. The 3 L's, listings, leads, leverage. You do not have leverage or leads without listings. Leads and listings go together, leverage comes later. Until you got leads and listings, you're your leverage. So how do you leverage yourself? Time block. Set some rules. Put a little timer on your phone, set a reminder. Drink water. I have drink water, talk to God. I do need some water. Drink water, talk to God. Because if I'm in my mode, it could go 7 o'clock at night and I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened today? So you do need some of those breaks. Schedule yourself. So listings, leads, and leverage. Like I said, you are your own leverage. That might mean that Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, when the kids go to bed or when you're done with whatever, that's when you do your marketing. Because you don't have a marketing person, you don't have an admin. You may say, I usually start my day at 7:30, thank you, Joanne, because at 7:30, I do my admin work. If you are a single agent and you're gonna start your day at 9 and you start getting into admin work, oh, forget your lead generation, it's over. I say that with confidence because 17 years later, I know. You'll just get into your emails, before you know it, you're texting somebody about a deal that's going on, and then you're like, oh my God, it's like 11:30, I might just go to lunch. You go to lunch, and then you're like, oh, I'll just finish my lead generation at home. And then you go home, and then, no, it doesn't happen. And you can't get that back. It's over. It's over. You got to double down tomorrow, and you know that's not going to happen. So I encourage you to have a 15th protocol. The 15th of the month is a protocol. If you didn't get your calls in, that is the month, you put that right on your calendar, 15th of the month, that day should be blocked out every single month for you to catch up. Because if you do it at the end of the month, it's too late to make any impact in that month. If you do it in the beginning of the month, like you just probably won't. And you got stuff going on. So the 15th gives you enough time to really work your regular plan, which would be a daily. But then it's like, girls, ladies, okay, it's like, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds before I go on vacation. Oh my God, it's 2 weeks before vacation. What can I do? Does anybody have any drops? That is what your business is like. I can't even take it anymore. You guys know what I'm talking about over there? Okay, so 5 fundamental models. Economic lead gen budget organizational expansion model just kind of came in. People asking when's the book getting written. It's probably not. Okay, 123 is in the book is the models. It's the original 4 models. The 5th model, expansion. And I just want to do this real quick. Economic model. This is where you do the thinking. If you know, yeah, you see that you got those circle there, right? So I write right on the book. Economic model. This is where you do the thinking. This is where the numbers show up. This is the problem because people jump into this, the lead generation, and go, oh, it doesn't work. Well, what are you even aiming for? Do you even know what you're aiming for? So thinking is how many appointments will I go on? What are my conversion ratios? This is tracking, okay? And we have easy ways to do tracking. We have a million different forms. Actually, I want you all to understand that I didn't learn this until just last week. I don't know if you know this, but in your Google account, in your your @KW Gmail account, if you were go to do any kind of slides, Word doc, you know, the Google Slides, Google Sheets, whatever, there's a template gallery, but there's also a KWRI template gallery. So there's 2 different template galleries. And in the KWRI template gallery, you will find things like trackers in the Sheets one, and you will find things like the 411 in the Google Docs template gallery.
That's just automatic with our KW.
It's just automatic. It's just
Okay.
there. I didn't even realize. I went to a non-KW account and I was like, oh, there's a template gallery here too. It's just generic forms. Like if you needed an invoice or a receipt, it's inside of the Word doc template gallery. But then I go, oh, there's a KWRI one. Clicked on that. There's your GPS, your 411, your everything that KW pushes out through KW Connect. A lot of their documents are there. So an easy way, you don't have to go looking for your My KW password, which I know everybody's like, where is it? Right, Joanne? Okay, so economic model is appointments, is the thinking. The lead generation model, which is model number 2, this is where you earn your money. This is where you talk to people. This is where you earn your money. This is where you market to people. This is you getting yourself out there to be available to others as a resource for real estate. So this is how many people, your contacts, your database. We like to call it a data bank. It is a data bank, not a database, because there's money in that data bank. We go and look for the outside ring, which you'll see that in a second, and you all have people on the inside ring. The outside ring are the people that we don't know, that haven't met, and we go after them. When really the goal for those people is to get them to the circle so that we know them, we love them, we like them, and they choose us. Why are we going out here to get them in here when we already have people in here? Lead generation is where you earn. Then we go here is number 3 is your budget. Budgets. Okay, and then you have your organizational. This is your 4th one. So in your budget, this is where you net money. Because there have been many businesses, and Gary Keller called them out a few years ago. There are many businesses that might have great numbers, you know, $100 million in sales. And they'd sit on stage with Gary Keller and talk about their models and their systems and their people. And here's the deal. She's making 150, she's making 250, she's making 250, she's making, how much are you making, Rainmaker? Yeah. Nope, out of model, not profitable. Big show, but no big net to those Rainmakers that are building out these businesses. You know, looks like it's great, looks like it's working, but is it a business worth owning? And so if you're not focused on what that budget is and how much money you're spending as a real estate agent, we get sold on everything that we can't even sell.
Right.
Okay, we get sold on anything shiny. I'm still looking at her shirt. Okay, that is her shirt. I'll buy it in a second because it's shiny. It's free. A red hat. Give it to me. It's $100. No problem. Right? We spend and we think it's going to bring us money, and then we don't hold it accountable. So all we need to do in the budget model is we need to understand if we're going to spend money, we're going to hold it accountable, and we're not going to do it and get rid of it in a month. You're going to make a wise decision. You're going to investigate it. You're going to inspect what you expect from it, because that is the one thing I can't stand. Oh, it didn't really work. What did you expect from it? Well, I don't know. It just didn't work. Well, how many deals did you get? I got 2 deals from it. Well, what did you expect from it? So know what you're expecting for the dollars that you're putting in. If you spent $1,000 on something and you got 2 deals out of it, I think that's a pretty good return on your money. Maybe it didn't come, if it came in the year, so you have to assess it. Budget, that's where you net. And organizational. Does anybody know what this one is? Your team, right? When you're a single agent, it's that leverage of the admin and the marketing and maybe leaning on transaction coordination, right? We have transaction coordination in the office. If you're not ready to go and put somebody on your salary and your team, we have them for you. They'll work the whole system for you. You can tell them, hi, can you write this offer up and then take it to close for me? And they'll do it for you, and you'll pay a fee, and you won't be paying them a salary, but you'll pay a fee for them to do that part of the deal. That would be you putting somebody into your team when you're ready, because you realize that you need more time to do this so that somebody can do the paperwork. In Angela's situation, Angela is she's kind of almost like an expansion team member into the Essex pot of Montclair for the Zohar Zamir group. So it's almost like she's, and we're talking about this now, team within a team, and her husband is licensed, so they're Isaacs, and they're in Montclair, and they're going to dominate Montclair. Over the next 5 years, the only name you're going to see is Isaacs.
Oh, I'm here to do that.
Well, things happen when I do that, right? Okay, you're not in the football, right?
I know.
So my point though is she's going to have her own organizational model inside of the organizational model, because she's going to need some leverage to go bite into that market. And so she'll look to put an admin, marketing, client appreciation, maybe show agent in that Montclair pocket, and it will be under her, under the team. So organizational model, what's going to happen is Angela will receive money, because those dollars that if she has a show agent that goes out and shows properties, she can't handle that because she's on 3 listing appointments. They're going to show properties. So now she got another 2 sales coming from this person. That money, she is receiving it because her organizational model is working for her. Okay. Now, I know Casey Monet was on here as well, and she is our luxury head. So when I think of Casey, when we're heading up divisions, and I'm the director of productivity, we have our own organizational model too. Who works with us? Who does what? Okay, so Casey's, I love Casey, awesome. So these are your 4 models. Expansion model. Joanne, who's an expansion artist? Who's an expansion agent in this market center? Stacy Esser has expanded here. And is there anybody else? The Ten Hoves, right? So DJ Ten Hove is actually an agent that I brought into the company in Monmouth when he was a part-time medical sales, okay? And he worked many years part-time. His cousin is AJ, or yeah, I think it's his cousin, right? They expanded up here, but so DJ, I'd love to bring DJ in because DJ is a great example of somebody who worked part-time, who then went full-time, got his wife who was in marketing, Nicole, her into the business. If you go on like TikTok or Facebook, you'll see DJ and Nicole Ten Hove and their stories, and they're so funny. And you should look at that for you and your husband too, because I can see you guys playing off like that. And then they built such a great business that I want to say I saw their numbers the other day in Monmouth. I think almost $2 million in commission. So they've expanded up to this market because they're in Monmouth County. Bergen and Monmouth are sister counties. People go down there to vacation all the time on the Monmouth beaches, and then even down to the LBI pocket. So if you don't have an agent that you refer to, because look, some of you spend time down in LBI for months, and you know people down there that live there. So you should have an agent that is your like hub partner down there that can service any of your, backyard wine buddies, right? There's business everywhere. When we check out on vacation, it doesn't mean it's over. It's just like, oh yeah, we can still help you. Oh my gosh, we're a worldwide company with a local expertise. And use that. We are worldwide reach, local expertise. We have local experts in all of our major markets, and yet we can stretch across the world. So please let us know what you need. All right. So expansion is when you go ahead and go into another market, not your main market, but it is under the same brand of your team. Joanne?
Kelly Weber wanted to say that she actually got a referral at East Florida for another place.
Yeah, she did. Awesome. And I actually, so Kelly is now licensed down in Florida, right? Is she licensed in Florida or is she moving? No, she's not licensed. Okay. And she went down there and I actually connected. She is in the process. I connected her with my girlfriend, Marissa Demare, who is a broker down in Florida as well as New Jersey. And they're talking about helping landlords, and because in Naples, a lot of people will buy a house and then, rent them out. Snowbirds. Some of them are $60,000 a month rentals. Wow. Yeah, they're really, it's a very great luxury market. But so she goes down there, she goes and visits, she connects with the agents, and now boom, she's got referrals going on. Naples and Jersey, total Boca and Jersey, Sarasota and Jersey. If you don't have agents in those pockets, somebody around here is going to go down there. Georgia. What's another? South Carolina, right? So there's some pockets. And how would you know what tool might you use in our system to figure out? Referral inside of commands. Okay. Inside of your command tool, there is on the left side, one of the icons is referrals. And you can look at the map and you can see the pattern of all the referrals. I had just done it the other day and literally it was Georgia, Florida, and like one other place. And I'm like, okay, that's where yeah, I think it was the South or North Carolina. Okay. So expansion, once your business awards you to go ahead and expand, if it makes sense, you go ahead and put somebody in that area. And now you have a partner that you are receiving money from. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go through this economic model, then we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get through the lead generation model also. This is numbers, so we do need your brains for this a little bit. We came up with a number. You guys had some big numbers. 660, 675. This is where do not dumb it down. Do not go, oh, I think I'm going to take the 300 down to 150. Don't do that. Because you were just cheating yourself. Because honestly, at the end of the day, it's not really going to be that crazy. So let's look at this economic model. Economic model is, I believe, on page 131 in the book. Right. So is it 131? Yep. So that one I like to take a copy of and have for my coaching clients. Just write on it. Back is the lead gen model. I start. Okay, so economic model. I love this. This is going to show you the $1 million. Okay, so this says $1 million net income. Now, I want us to keep something in mind. We're in New Jersey. Our average price point is way higher. What is the average price point in the country?
250.
It's like 200. It's like 220 maybe right now, but it was under 200 when I first started. It's like one something. I was like, oh my gosh, I would move. Our master faculty instructor, Brad Korn, and I encourage you when you see him teaching classes, jump on there. 100 closings every year for the last 20 something years. He lives in Kansas. Okay, his average price point is about 200, 170. What happens is when you're outside of this area and that price point is at 200, you have to do 3 times the amount of deals that we do. You have to talk to that many people. Your business has to include a sales team, marketing, admin, because I remember there was a woman who said, I need to do 70 deals just to break even, just to pay for all the marketing, and the team has to do 70 transactions. Now, that's probably like it in some of our bigger teams here as well, that, you know what, our break-even points at like 40 deals or so, when you have maybe multiple people working on salary and a high clientele where, you know, there's just some expenses that are going out. That's a business decision, right? This budget model is going to show us a 30, 30, 40. So when we talk about 30, 30, 40, 30, 30, 40 means that 30% is going to go to operating expenses. Okay. And 30% is going to go to cost of sale. Let's talk about that. And the model says that 40% is going to be your net, Mr. or Mrs. Rainmaker. Until you get to a point that you have a full staff, 30% in operating expenses. What do you think we consider operating expenses in a real estate sales business? Give me some ideas. Marketing, because it's a set thing, marketing. I'm gonna put a budget to it, right? What else?
All your fees.
Fees, yep, all of your fees, E&O, MLSs, memberships, subscriptions, right? What else? Your assistant, any salaried roles, okay? So you have any salaried roles? Or if you have like, you know, maybe some part-time help, contractors, you know, like you do this project, $200 and just get this mailer out, right? Those are pretty much expenses, pictures, marketing, you know, all that stuff, conferences, education. If you have a coach, like my 2 coaches, I pay monthly for office space, rent, right? You rent a desk. These are all the things that you write off, right? You write these off. You know all these expenses in your business, the magnets, the express, you know, all that stuff. This here is where I think we get challenged, because in our market, to make 200,000, you can do that by yourself. So you don't need a buyer's agent at that level. In other markets, you probably have a buyer's agent to make 200,000, because the amount of units you're going to need to do, you just can't do it by yourself. What the book says is you're at about 36 units. 36 units is for that one agent. Now, some of you be like, 36 units, oh my God, I'd die if I do 36 units by myself. Angela, how many units did you do this year? 27, okay? So she did 27. Not gonna be that much different. She probably had a few fall apart. She probably could have put maybe 30, 32. She's on a team, but she's running her own team in a team, so she's kind of doing her own thing. So making her calls, going on appointments. Yep. I mean, all the things you'd have to do, right? So 36 units is probably the max as to where one agent can get to. Now, in some markets, because of, like, let's say Naples, you might need to give them extreme service. Like, you're there for every showing. You're there for, so that's time. And you may be able to say, look, in that kind of market, that luxury market, I'm looking at 12 to 24 as my max, because I just can't give customer service like that. And until I find somebody that will work in my team the way I work with my clients, I'm not willing to lose my referral base. So it is me and my assistant, and that is it. And there's a woman named Dee Schultz who actually developed our KW Luxury years ago with Kathy Nye. And Dee, she operated in California, older woman, and she would do, I think it was 60 units, 60, 70 units by herself and one admin, because they got the Dee Schultz experience, and that was it. And she's like, I'm not compromising. So there's also a really fantastic girl out in California who does about 250 sales, 1 person and 6 admin. So you get to design your business how you choose. There is no absolute definite, this has to be the model. I would tell you though that one agent with the 6 admin, she's limited, right? Because all those admin, they can't have the real estate conversations that she can. So I would probably look at her business and think that she put somebody in there after being on stage with Gary. So this cost of sale will be a buyer's agent. It will be a showing agent. It will be Karen Kleiman's biggest expense in her business, referral fees. We don't count that, but 25% going out the door. If Karen puts a plan in place And Karen says, I want to make $1 million, but she forgets to account that 25% of her money goes out to the New York, California, Georgia agents. She's going to be left with 750 wondering how come the plan didn't work. So you have to take into account how much business do you expect to do through referral and what are you going to pay out? Or that's a good expense.
Yeah.
Right? So, and Karen will take this education expense and she'll put it against her referral expense, right? Because the education is always going to bring in that money. She goes to conference after conference. She has networked with everybody in this company. She does not hang out with us when we're there. She goes and finds other people that will want to give her the New Jersey referrals. When you are out with your friends, if you go to a board or if you go to like an event, think about that, be mindful, you know. And I said to somebody, who was it? Social media, when you're thinking about your marketing, that's something else also. If you automatically go and put something on a post, the majority of us have a huge population of realtors that are our friends. So I want you to be mindful in 2022 that when you make a post, are you just assuming that it got to everybody that it should get to? Because we put it in, we feel purposeful. If we did it, we got our marketing out there. A lot of times it's falling on my page. I'm looking at it. I mean, I can sell myself a house. I can list my own house, right? You know, Anna and Ariane. I mean, you guys see it. It's like, well, what kind of maybe there would be a referral. So there is something to come from that. But I will encourage you, especially in Facebook. I don't know how it works in Instagram or not. We need some of these classes. I got to see to do this. You can make a list of people in Facebook that you can target. So when you post something, you know how it says post to friends, post to wall, post to feed, news feed, post to story. You could post to a group. You could post to a friends list, and you can target those people. So if just the way you're keeping your database in command, some people are on your phone. If you make your target list of, even if you say like 25, 50 people that you know are like bird watchers, raving fans of yours that are on social media with you, make a list of those people so that every post you put out that's purposefully looking to lead generate, it's hitting their feeds. Otherwise, we don't know, it goes out to the worlds of who the heck knows. Metaverse is coming. I know some people don't even know what that is. And I sounded crazy trying to explain it to my son last night. Okay, so when we're talking about this 30%, for some of you, it's not going to be there. Cost of sale means anything that is a cost only if the sale happens. So some people might argue taxes, yeah. Well, yeah, taxes too.
What about gifts? Gifts?
Well, and so taxes, but here, the taxes, what I like to do is put the tax at the end. When we see what that net is, because you gotta take your expenses off. When you see what your net is, then you can assume what you're gonna be paying on your taxes. Now, what did you say, gifts?
Gifts, fine.
Only happens when it closes?
Yeah.
It's not attached to the percentage of the sale or coming from that money. It's just something that you're choosing that I spent a lot on
Right.
in my expenses because I had a lot of closings. It's not necessarily a cost of sale, but that's one thing you could, argue. And then the other one is like the MLS fee.
What about like referral gifts? So people, you don't know necessarily if it's gonna close, but you should say thank you, right?
Right, okay, but if it doesn't close, you're still paying it.
Did you say commission split yet? The possible sale?
No, thank you. But, okay, so to yours though, you're paying it regardless, right? You're buying that gift and sending it to Karen regardless whether it closes or not. Yeah, so that's gonna be gifts, referral gifts, agent gifts,
That's regular expense.
that's all regular expenses, yes.
Operating.
Anna just said
Commissions.
commission split. So your company dollar, your contribution to the market center is a cost of sale. However, it caps here, right? So when we're looking at percentage, that's where we have to, we have to put it in there, but I would put it in last and just add the flat amount, considering that every single person in here has a number that will make you cap. Okay, if it's not gonna make you cap, or if you're a half cap because you're on a team, let's say, and you're gonna put that amount, right? So our buyer's agents are typically on a half cap because their commission is half of the remainders, right? Understandable. So whatever that company dollar is contribution, we would tack that on, but it is a cost of sale because it's only gonna happen if you close on transactions. To that point, what kind of coaching are you in? If you're in coaching, it may be that your coaching fee is going to be a cost of sale. And if you're in coaching, and because some of us are on a coaching where it's a 10% until they cap, okay?
Okay.
So if that's the case, then you would add it here, but if you've gotten a business plan that's gonna make you cap, your coaching dollars will cap out. So these will both cap out. So I would add these as an expense to the bottom line after you figure out what the other costs of sales are. And you would talk to your market center and your coach about what those totals would be, okay? Buyer agent, company dollar contribution. The other thing is, if you pay for a coach, like I said, that would be up here. Okay? $2,000 a month coach, it's going to my expenses. Okay. So that's the breakdown of these numbers so that you can understand what we're even talking about. I just did that with tables. Okay, awesome. So $1 million in income will mean that you will need $750,000 in operating expenses, $750,000 in cost of sale, creating $2.5 million in GCI, which we just talked about, like the 10 homes. That's the type of business, that level that we're at there. $2.5 million in commission, if we work backwards, is about 100 million. Yes, 100 million times 2.5%. So we all know some $100 million teams. $100 million is bringing in 2.5%. 2.5 million in commission, and assuming they're in model, the Rainmaker should take home $1 million. The team members and all the costs of sale would make the 750. The referrals, the cap, all of the stuff we just talked about here, the referrals out, that would all be in the 750. So imagine we have 4 buyers agents. They're all making 200,000 or 150,000. Right, so that's 600. Now you got another 150 for the referrals, right? If it makes sense. And then operating expenses 750. Let's say you got a couple of admin, 2, 3 admin for that level, full time. Marketing is going out. Kelly, why don't you put it in the chat? How much do you pay in marketing a month? How much do you and Roger pay for marketing a month? Because you need to understand that money, it starts getting up there, right? 18,000 or so. Right? We were talking, were you in that? I don't think you were in that meeting.
I was outside.
You were missing.
I missed it.
Okay. So yeah, so I think it's somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 a month.
2,500 per month.
Oh, that's just for the, okay, that's way too little. Oh, Roger, about $2,500 a month. I think you're up more than that. He's not including all of his marketing. However, it could really get up there. For online leads and the online leads, we have ad campaigns. I remember who was it, Adam Hergenrother, or maybe it was Jason Abrams, and they were most of our top producers were spending about $13,000 a month for their CRM with their leads coming in. Add then some marketing, some postcards, add then an event that they have for clients. Before you know it, you're up to the 750 with all of that plus your salaries. So that is what that looks like. Now, in our market, here's the challenge. In this market, they're averaging $7,100 for a commission. What is our average commission? Spell it out. What's your average commission? The house sells for 700,000. It's 2.5% commission, right? What is that? 14,000 plus 7? 21,000? Like that?
2.5% of the
17,000. If we said 12,000, maybe 10,000, what is your average commission? You need to know what that is. So if you work a $400,000 price point, it's probably 10,000. If it's a 500, it's 12.5. It's a 600. Okay, so you have to figure that out. I'm going to do an economic model right here on the paper, though. Okay, so. What was one of those numbers that we yelled out? What number do we want to work with? No, 6. Let's say 600,000. Right. So we had 7. We had 6s. We had 3. Let's just say 600,000. So here's where the economic model. Let me go back to that so you can see in here's the economic model where I say, okay, I like to work this way, but I want to, yeah, let's go this way. $600,000 is I want to net that. Now, if I need to work backwards, this is where we have to make a decision. We have operating expenses and we have cost of sale. So operating expenses, cost of sale. With the 600,000 in our temperature, what will be our, let's put some expenses here, cost of sale. The cap is gonna be what? 33,000, okay? So that's one of the costs of sale. What else is gonna be a cost of sale? Maybe I have a buyer's agent, show agent, let's say, okay? And let's say they're gonna make, I don't know, 100,000, just 100,000, okay? Some referrals out. I do the math, I say, I'm probably gonna send out about 25,000 referrals. What else am I gonna spend some money on? The cost of sale. I have Joe on there, 3,000 for your royalty. What'd you say? Your coaching, let's say your coaching comes out and that caps at 12. And, okay, so let's just say this is your true cost of sale. And I'm not going back to do the 30%. That's what the model will say, but I'm saying that the cost of sale is going to be off because of our price point. So if we look and we add this up, it's 158, 58, 60, 73, 173,000. No, it's probably, it's almost, yeah, for sure. But it's not too much. So, okay, let's do 173. What? Oh, 420. What? No, we have to add it. We have to add that. We need that extra because you want to net 600, remember? So we need to add that. Now your other ones are your expenses, your marketing expenses. If 600,000 is 40% of what? Huh?
The operating expenses.
450,000. Okay. So 450,000. Now, here's the other thing. I don't think you're going to need 2, 3 admin the way you would because units aren't going to be there. So you're probably cutting that in half too. So this is where we make some adjustments. And each of you, if you are at $1 million business, which some of you that I have been speaking to, we can do this for you because you probably will fall in model like this. But if you're not, you're probably going to cut that in half. Let's cut that in half. And what did you say? So let's call it 200. Now 200 is a marketing plan. 200 is online leads. 200 is 2 salaries. You got a 40,000 and a 40,000, a couple bonuses, and 100,000 is getting eaten up right there in salaries. The other 100,000 we're going to say is on marketing, lead generation, photography, all of that stuff. Okay. So now we add this up, and for number's sake, let's just put this as 200. Okay. Let's just up the. So we got 600, 200, 200. Now we need to make $1 million. So we decided on the 600 because of our lifestyle. We're not going to compromise. We're going to net that. We have a business that we're running because people are in it, or they have to be in it at that point, 600,000. We're gonna run it, and maybe this is, and I want you all to be okay with this. If this is a 2022 plan that then shows up in 23, and you realize these numbers in 23, would that be okay still?
Yeah.
Right. If you're working towards it, it is okay. I don't want you to say, well, it has to happen in the year, otherwise it's false. It didn't work for me. This is going to be something that you're working towards. Once you hit that level, then you're gonna go, oh, okay, now I know how I got there. I gotta tweak this, tweak that, boom, I can go to the next level. But until you got there, just give yourself some time, grace and mercy, right? So $1 million is what this person needs to make to net out 600,000 because they're gonna spend 200 on expenses and 200 is gonna be in their cost of sale. So $1 million. That's how I feel. So, sellers and buyers, $1 million. How much of your business will be from sellers versus buyers? You're going to say 60-40. What'd you say? 50-50. You get to decide. I will tell you, you have more time if you are more on the seller side. A healthy business, according to Gary and the industry, is for every listing, there's a buyer. So the business should be a 50-50 business. We are a very strong listing company. If we look at all of our market centers, we're a little more listing heavy, which is good, especially during a time like this. And we also need to understand we had some missed buyer opportunities. When I say that, I mean that we had listings that moved so fast that we did not take those buyers that came to look at it seriously. We worried about getting that listing closed. And guess what? There's 3 buyers that went off and bought with somebody else. I had one client say to me, ouch, yesterday. She was doing, and I encourage all of you to do this. Go through all of your old open house leads, whether you're gonna text them, email, just blast them to see if there's any life in all of those old leads from 21. Even 20 people didn't make the move. They didn't do it. They still froze. Just see if you can find any, maybe there's 2, 3, 4 people. I had one client, 3 people bought off of her open house sheets. And they would have bought with her. They bought with somebody else. They were like, oh my gosh, yeah, we met you. You were so nice. It's like, ouch, right? Because those were not $10,000 checks. Those were $800,000 properties. That was about a $60,000 mistake of not following up on open house leads. Okay, so I will encourage us to do a 50-50 business or to build a plan out with 50-50 because our buyer side can be taken care of by our listing activities. Can we agree that buyers really only want houses? They don't care what you look like, what you do, when are you available, you available, you available, can I get in? Right? That's the initial, once you've gotten there, yes, you show up different, you talk different, you ask questions, you consult, you really are fiduciary to them. However, they don't care. They're on there clicking away, they just want in. And they want to know that your offer is gonna get to that listing agent and it's gonna get accepted. So if you don't seem strong, I'm gonna move on. And literally strong means pick up the phone and call people back. In this industry, if you just do that, you will be ahead of the game. If you show up 5 minutes early for appointments, you will be professional. If you show up 15 minutes late, you will be average. And that is horrible, that is what is expected of the customer in our industry. Oh, they'll probably be 15 minutes late, they're a realtor. Why? Okay, so 50-50, $5 million in closings would come from sellers. $5 million would, I'm sorry, not 5 million, $500,000, $500,000 would come in from closings, from commissions from sellers, closings from buyers. Now, here's the question. What's your average price? What's your average commission? So you could do that in 2 steps, or let's just work with an average. What do you want to put in there? A $600,000 average is going to give me how much? 2.5% commission.
15,000.
Okay. Okay. So this is working with a $15,000 commission, average commission. Because the models say I want to make 600,000. I'm going to spend 200,000 in cost of sale, 200,000 in expenses. That means I'm going to generate $1 million in commissions. 500,000 is going to come from sellers. 500,000 is going to come from buyers. If I take an average, let's work on the seller side for a second. If I take an average of 2.5% commission and an average of 600,000 of a sale price, which is 15,000, how many sellers sold will I need? 33 sellers sold at the average of 15,000 in commission. So if you want to check your math, which we just did last night for hours, 33 times 15 is 500,000, right? It's going to be the same thing on this side. Now, if I need to sell 33 houses, now honestly, does 33 sales sound like a lot? Really, when you go $1 million, I get $1 million at the end of 33 sales, like 33 sales. If you went on a listing appointment, what are the chances that you're taking the listing? 50%? Most people are only interviewing one agent, like 70% of people are interviewing one agent. It's like you get to the listing table, you got the listing if you tell them to sign it. You walk out the door, you didn't, Olivia didn't take your listing, you lost the listing, you didn't take it. Okay, so what I will encourage you is The book will say 65 to 80% is what the numbers should range. If you are not doing those numbers, if you're not tracking, you don't even know. If you tell me, oh, I get every listing I go on, you're not going on enough listings, because that means you're going on the come list me's, the warm ones. That means you're not really hunting and fishing for listings. So what I would say is, number one is, what is this conversion? 65 to 80%. And then the next conversion, so this is listings taken, listing appointments. Okay. This is where you get to make more money or work less. So if I could do a 65, Joanne, takes 33, divided by 0.65, huh? 51 listings need to be taken to sell 33. Now, in today's market, do we think that's a realistic? If you guys take a listing, you should sell that listing, right? So I'm going to cross this one out because that's going to be in your very challenging market to take that many listings and then have that many expired or not sell, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to use the 80% because it's more likely 90%, but what's the 80%? 33 divided by 0.8. 41, that sounds about right. Seven or 8 are not going to sell. Maybe they move into the new year. Maybe they come off. Maybe they decide to stay together. Maybe they decide to get divorced and he keeps the house. Who knows, right? So 41. So basically, we're going to go on 41 listing appointments. We're going to have an 80% conversion, and we're going to sell 33. Well, what is your chance when you go on that listing appointment that you're going to get the listing? Now, here's the thing. Do it for me at 65. So go 41 divided by 0.65. Do it for me at 80. Okay. So this is where we go. The magic is going to be in, are you plugged in? Do you know your scripts? Are you going after the right sellers? Are you qualifying them before you get out there? All of those things will matter as to, you went on a listing appointment. You went on 51 of them. You took 41 of them, you lost 10, you didn't take 10. Olivia took them. And then you sold 33. Or you have a less impressive conversion, and you had to go on 63 listing appointments, but you still took your 41 and you sold 33. At an average of 15,000, gave you 500,000. So when we look at this is the difference. And my father would always say, you can't compete, but you can. And I said, okay, you might just have to swing the bat more. We're a softball family, so you can always compete. It's the law of numbers. So if your number is, I got to go on 63 to get 41, but she's got to go on 51 to get 41. How do I beat her? I go on 65, right? You're playing your own game. And you need to know what strengths you have and where you need to sharpen your axe. Some of you could get into any door and it's not a problem. And then when you get there, who knows what happens? Okay. And I'm not putting Karen out for a second, and I don't know if you don't get listings. I'm just saying, Karen can get into any door, I'm sure. If I said to her, can you go down the street? There's a house around the corner for sale by owner. Can you go tell them they need to list with us? I'm sure Karen would have no problem walking in and just getting in, which means getting in a listing appointment. She could get in a lot of them probably. Then her skill to getting it signed, if Karen went on 100 listing appointments and she's like, yeah, but I took 20 of them. I go, Karen, what the hell are you saying? What kind of conversation are you having? Because it's obviously not about listing their house. And then we could coach to that. We could say, well, it's got to be the conversation you're having. If she said to me, no, we talk about listing the house, I would then have to dissect, what is it that you did? Maybe I say, Karen, you got to start asking these people, what about my presentation made you choose another agent? I'm really trying to get better here. Then we can fix these percentages. But if you're not even tracking, if you just tell me, oh, I took 5 listings this year. Okay, how did you get them? How many did you go on? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Okay, well, then how can we make a plan for next year? So I'm assuming that you're sitting here because you want to be purposeful. Your intention isn't to be purposeful business owner. And so will you go on 53, 51, or 63 appointments? That's up to you. However, this is the economic model. And so for the person who wants to make 600,000 and is willing to commit to the work, 51 seller appointments is the only thing we need to talk about. because the buy side is gonna work off of those listings. The buy side is gonna work off of the opportunity for the open house. The buy side is gonna work for the opportunity of the command ad. The friends that are out there that when you say, hey, I'm in real estate, they go, oh, somebody needs to buy something. When you say, hey, do you know anybody needs to sell their house in the next 30, 60 days or even 6-9 months? Then you're specifically looking for sellers. So what I will say to you is, we don't want to talk about this so much because if you get out there doing this, it's going to fix it for you. So now Chris will say to you, Olivia, did you go on a listing appointment this week? Because you just have to go on a listing appointment every week. Yeah, but just don't even say for a month. Oh, 1 a week. Your job every week, otherwise you're fired, is you go on a listing appointment. Why don't we wake up with that kind of fierceness? Because that would literally give us the business that we want. If you did not go to a class and you did not get on a Zoom and you did not go to the office meeting, but you went on a listing appointment, you're going to have a fantastic business. Now, once you start doing that, you're going to need all those other resources because you're like, oh my God, what do I do? But I'm just saying, take everything away. The gut of it is, did you talk to a potential seller this week? And honestly, that's all Chris should have to ask you. And you should just be like, okay. And if you don't, he could say to you, I'm going to give you this 30 minutes to go and make some seller phone calls so that you can get a seller appointment, because that is more important for you this week than talking to me about something that you didn't even do. Okay. And I say that with kindness, and I know you're new. We're not going to treat you any different than we're going to treat Anna. We're going to treat Angela, which is not, because I've seen agents come into the business and in the first 3 years, boom, they're making $350 and they got a business and now they got people working for them and they're taking over markets and they're just not going to have that limiting belief that I got to wait till 5-10 years for me to like arrive in the business. Nadesh, are you jumping in there too? Okay. All I'm saying is it's a limiting belief if you think that you can't do 12 deals, 10 deals, 5 deals, make your life different, because you can, and real estate is the best vehicle to do that. Just for the online 2,000. See, I know they got more money going on. Rogers, he's up to 5,000 now a month, 5 or 6,000 a month. Give him another hour, it'll be at the 15,000 Okay, so.
Easy. I'm very easy to spend money.
You're the marketing man. You everything is probably shiny and a fantastic object for you to buy. Okay, so performance versus investment, behavior, skill level, ability, resources. Kind of talked about all of that in your conversion ratios and your skill sets. If you don't feel, and here's one thing I want to show you on commission, because commission is going to start to be a problem. It's going to be a challenge. Okay, but in the absence of value, commission is an objection. In the absence of value, commission is an objection. In the absence of value, we go, well, I'm not going to pay that for that pocketbook. I'm not going to pay that for those glasses. I'm not going to pay that for that house. In the absence of value, they go, I'm not going to pay that for that agent. Are you out of your mind? No way. So if you're not showing the value, that's why they're going to go, can you do it for 2%? Can you do it for 1.5%? I got a guy that will do it for 3%, the whole thing. What's his name? No, I was kidding. I think he's somewhere in the list or something. He starts with an M. Forget his name. Everybody hates him. But here's the deal. 3, 2, 1, 2.5, 1.5. You all better get angry when somebody asks you to take a cut on your commission, okay? Because this is what you all need to say is, my commission is 3%. When we get to the table, we'll talk about it for sure. But my commission is 3%. If they really want you to come to a number, I thought, what's going to be the commission? I really, we'll discuss that. Sounds like that's important to you. Let's discuss that when I get there. It can range anywhere from 3% to 10%. But 3% is my fee. Now let's decide what we're going to give out. We're going to give out 2.5. We're going to give out 3. Oh, you're 5.5. You're 7. Whatever. Here's what I want to say though: is if your commission is 3% and you decide you're going to take a 2.5, this right here is not just a 0.5% different, it's a 16.66666% decline in your income. So if you consistently did that and you took a 0.5% less on what should be a 3% commission to your side, every time you say yes to that owner, yeah, sure, I could do for 2.5. Yeah, sure, I could do for 2. Because can you do it for 2 and offer 2.5 out to the rest of the world here? You can. You absolutely can do this. I'm gonna take the listing for 2 and offer out 2.5% to the rest of the world so nobody sees that I didn't protect my value. Okay, this right here would be you taking not a 16%, but a 33% cut in what you expect to make by the end of the year. Do that over and over and over again, and your $1 million just turned into 700,000, and you're like, wait, but I was supposed to make $1 million. Your 100,000 turns into 70,000. You're like, that's not enough. Well, because you didn't protect your value at the table. So that's a whole nother class, is protecting that commission at the listing table. However, as we go into the spring market, we need to be talking about this more and more, because we're hearing it more and more. People want you to do it for less. And when the interest rates spike, the seller goes, but I don't have the money. My house was worth 700. Now it's worth 680. I can't pay you. And you're like, your house has, and the market has nothing to do with what I'm going to do for you. So my commission is, it's just a percentage of the pie. You know what? You're cutting the most important person out of the process because you need this, Mr. Seller. You personally can't afford to not have me because you need me to fight for your money. And then that's where you guys have to, this is where you earn your commission. It's a whole nother class, like I said, but I do want you to realize that some of you looking at that at 2.5%, if you don't want to go on 51 appointments, you could just get real strong at the table and start asking for 3%, and you put 3 in instead of 2.5, and you'll see that 51 go down to like 40, 44 or something. Like, oh, okay, I could actually work less or make more. And that is the book. Where's the book? Over there. Smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder.
Okay.
Alpha's here. It's the alpha in the house. Alpha movers. Everybody's next move should be with alpha movers. You guys support us. It's tremendous. We love you. A free move? What'd you say? Oh. Don't do that. You're on Facebook. Okay, so we went over all of this, talked about appointments, conversion. I gave you the whole economic model. 1152. What I'd like to do right now is, okay, ahas. I'd like to just stop for a second. I believe we have a little something, right?
Yeah, there's one from the,
Okay, what time is it coming at?
well,
12. Okay, it's 8 minutes. Yes, Karen.
For my house, I never, ever thought about, this would be back out to the old leads
Uh-huh.
for the past year and a half, and, you know, even my referral leads that just never went anywhere.
Yeah.
Is that's again, extra money found in the pocket, hopefully I can convert them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And look, the last 2 years are different than normal because people literally might have just put their stuff on hold. Somebody could have got sick. Right now, everybody, and I would encourage you this week, make your care calls. How you doing? Just checking in. Everybody good? Everybody safe? You know, with the cases going up, it's a really easy call. Don't even say anything about real estate. They know you're a realtor, especially if they're in your database and they're getting your marketing. They'll probably say to you, oh, wait, how's the market? You still doing good? You doing okay? You guys still showing houses? I mean, that's the kind of conversations that will come from it. Just checking in, want to see how you're doing. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Everybody's safe because it's getting a little crazy out there. Are the kids off? Are the kids off next week? Nothing about real estate. Then that gives you the shoe in for January to be like, hi, it's me again. Who do you know that's going to sell their home? And what's your homework? Okay. So more, let's go to Maha's, and then we'll have Alpha come up, say a little few words, and we're gonna have a break for lunch. Then we're gonna come back and do lead generation, and then I'll finish up with budget and organizational.
I love the idea of, you know, marketing now down in Florida or North Carolina or all those places.
Yep.
And being a dual agent. I mean, working in both places.
Yeah.
That's excellent. I never thought, I mean, I have thought of that,
Yeah, didn't seem like so real for you.
But yeah, it didn't seem so real.
Yeah. My girlfriend Marissa literally picked up and went down to Florida when the pandemic hit, and she's like, I really don't think we're coming back. And I'm like, what? She's like, I just don't think we are. I think that, and I really didn't think that was gonna happen. She then got pregnant, they had the baby, they bought a second house, they renovated the house. Now they found their dream home. She's a broker now, and she's like, I'm gone, I'm down here. She loves it.
For
Go ahead,
me,
Olivia.
just the thought process of thinking that whatever you do now is going to affect whatever happens 3 months down the line. I think you all kind of get the idea of you want things right now, but just putting all that time and energy and everything you need to put in now will take place and come to fruition within 3 months.
And so for you as a newer agent, what I would say is if you don't have that cushion financially, you need to figure it out. Because what will happen is you will panic mode and like abort mission and just go get a job if it got tight and you don't have a backup plan, right? So you could have a closing that's set for March, maybe the first one's gonna hit in April, now gets pushed off. And now you're like in panic mode, and all the leads that you were working that were really just gonna come to fruition, you drop because you're just in, survive mode. So business owners plan for that time. And it looks like 6 to 9 months of reserve in your reserve account. Joanne takes care of that for this market center. Financially stable. If when the pandemic hit, our market centers were not worried. We did file for PPP. Regardless though, our regional leadership had been telling us for years, last 2 years, get 9 months reserve in there. Brian Fair is very big on 9 months reserve in that account. So some OP is 6, some 9, but I encourage you as real estate agents, do you have 6 to 9 months living expenses in an account somewhere that, God forbid, New York business shut down completely? You couldn't do anything. You couldn't call. I mean, it just recently got lifted, So, and then it went back, right? Something. Okay, you still can't call. State of emergency, no calls. So they've tied my hands. How am I going to do it? Well, are you going to get out of business now? Or do you have your backup plan? So great job. All right, give me a few more ahas.
Mine was
Angela?
what you said about doing the 401(b) and thinking about the day. Because I start on Monday and that's not.
Yeah, Monday is a tough day to get yourself organized when things are just firing at you, especially when you close 27 transactions in a year. Mondays are busy. So it's really easy to justify to yourself, like, I don't have time for this planning right now. I really just need to take care of this because this guy needs a contract together, he needs to get a review.
You said that's the highest on Mondays now sometimes.
Yep, best and highest. And as you turn into more of a listing agent, you have a lot of seller conversations to be had. On Monday morning, they're wondering, where's my offer? Right? Where's my offer? And you're like, give them a second, give them a second. And then Tuesday, you're like, it's still not here, but call them back. All right, 2 more ahas. Go ahead.
It's the 15th of the month.
15th of the month protocol. Put it in the calendar. Right? Let people know about it. Spouses and all. Like, don't, if I didn't do my job, 15th of the month's gonna look like, just don't bother me. All right, 1 more aha.
Plan your schedule a year in advance, put in your family time, your vacation time. All that stuff.
Yep, and I would encourage you to plan some major things in advance. And I am only committing to the first quarter of 22 to not drive myself crazy with like formal plans, because we just don't know what is. And I've seen myself do that the last quarter of, we're gonna have this going on. And I'm like, oh no, we're not. As you saw, Colleen canceled Christmas. As she says, she's like, I canceled Christmas. Which is for the safety of stuff, right? So we're gonna take a quick break. It is 12 o'clock. We should be back at about 12:30, 12:15. I can keep this up and open. All right, guys. Those of you that are on Zoom, we're just taking a quick break, a little bit of lunch, and then we'll be back to do lead generation model. All right, Alpha, come on up and say something, and come over here so that the people on Zoom can see you. And then we're gonna
Just Stephanie's just following up on lunch. We're trying to track it down.
All right, we might have to have a
It's
working
coming
lunch.
from somewhere local, like the pizza place right around the corner.
Okay.
Okay, so I apologize for a little bit late lunch. We'll track it down shortly. So Number one, my name is Max Sampson. I'm the president and owner of Alpha Moving and Storage. We've been a vendor with the Bergen County Partners and also with Cliff Lake for this is our 4th year. We're going to become a vendor. And just, of course, I want to recommend you that I know all your clients are obviously, right? I think as an agent, it is sometimes hard to recommend a mover because we've all heard the horror stories of moving companies and what they do to either yourself or to your clients. So I think from my perspective, I can only recommend if you're gonna work with a mover, I would highly suggest that you work with someone that others in your office has worked with, right? And we've been around, as I said, for 4 years. One of the things that working with someone like me as part of the vendor program is that if I don't do a good job of taking care of your clients, it's not just your client I'm making upset, right? I'm making you upset, and I'm making potentially the entire office and thus all of Bergen County Partners upset.
Maybe Colleen, she'll cancel you.
Yeah.
She will.
And we moved Carlene, so she knows the purpose, right? So, and she's very, very happy. And I think the number one thing for me to understand is go with someone that don't just has the interest of making the most of your one client, right? Go with someone who has something to lose in case they don't take care of your client.
Yeah.
And I am that mover. It would be very stupid for me not to take care of your client because I have a lot more to lose, right? And the most important thing is, I guarantee you, ask anyone in the office if we offer good moving service, right? I think we move everyone on the office staff in this office. We haven't moved Mary Beth yet.
I haven't moved.
No, exactly. You should.
Not good.
Right. So for me, I think the most important thing, as I said, go with someone that others will recommend, right? And of course, I'm partial to Alpha Moving and Storage, right? And the other thing is we've been around for a long time. 1993, our company was formed, and we have movers that's been with us for 10 years working on the trucks in an industry where they don't last for more than right? That means that our guys know how to take care of your client stuff. We can do a much better job because we have the experience. We also, Mark is not here today, but Mark is your day-to-day contact. So if your clients call him and tell him, hey, I'm from my agent at the Woodcliff Lake office recommended me to call you, he will follow up with you and say, okay, this is what's going on. We got this lead from the client today. We're doing an estimate on this and this day, and we'll let you know what happened, right? So that way, you'll always know what's going on with the client, right? And it's just Mark that is responsible. That is his job, to make sure you feel comfortable with us. And of course, Mark doesn't go to the move. That's all.
I was like, Mark's not moving people.
No, right?
He's your customer service.
So the important thing again is he's taking care of you and your client before the move, and then of course on the day of the move, we have our movers there, right? And I think 90% of the business we do today is refer to repeat customers, right? So that's what we do, right? So I'm telling you, if you have anyone that you know are moving, ask them to call Alpha Moving, right? And I would even recommend throw another moving company in there, right? Make your client make the choice of what movers to use, who they feel most comfortable with, right? That way, it's not just you that say, "Oh, you told me these guys were going to be good," right? You make them make a choice, and leave it up to me to convince them I'm the best choice, right? Because what happens in moving is that there's a lot of bad moving companies out there. What do bad moving companies do? They do the equivalent of cutting the commission, right? In moving, it's just saying, if I know this move is going to take 10 hours, they're going to get 5 hours, right? And then the day of the move, they're going to spend 5 hours loading the truck. And then they're going to tell your client, oh, by the way, we don't have enough hours. And all your stuff is on my truck, so now you got to pay me double, right? That's what bad movers do. If I did that to even one of your clients, or anyone in this office, anyone in BCP, I would be out of business, right? I can't afford to do that. So again, go with someone that have been recommended to you by others. And I'm telling you, in this office, I think most people would say Alpha. Okay, so that's my recommendation. And again, call us, make sure you feel comfortable with us too. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you for your time, and let me just, I know Stephanie was just calling on the lunch, so let me go.
Yeah, you're gonna take a break, make a phone call, do what you're gonna do. I approve Alpha.
Thank you.
I love their mindset. They're, any conversation they've ever had, they like sat and listened, and they're in alignment with our culture. So that's great. Thanks.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
so lunch will be here in just a few minutes. We'll be back. Those of you on Zoom, we will be back at 12:30. 12:05.
I'm good. You're everywhere now, huh?
Yeah.
You're taking care of